have to hit go live, and then I have to get a pop-up and I have to hit go live again. It's kind of redundant. But now we're live. So hello everybody. Let me adjust my camera here. All right. Straighten that up. How are we all doing? All right. Welcome back to another night of Monday Night Carnivore Talk. And I'm really glad you are here. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people on this way of eating quietly skip, even though it might be one of the most important pieces. And most of us get pretty good nutrition and get pretty good at eating muscle meat. Steaks, ground beef, ribs, and the cuts look good on a plate and taste familiar. But here's the one question that we're going to sit and go over for the next couple of hours. Are you actually eating the animal from nose to tail, or just the expensive parts? Because when we eat only muscle, we're leaving some nutrition on the table. The organs, the marrow, the connective tissue, and the bones. And these parts, traditional cultures and wild animals actually will prioritize first. These parts are packed with nutrients that you simply don't get the same amounts of when you eat just a ribeye. And so tonight we'll dig into why that matters. We'll also talk about why it might not matter. So we're not saying everybody has to run out and eat organs, but we're going to look at what's missing when the diet is mostly steak and burgers, and we're going to talk about the specific nutrients found in liver, heart, kidney, bone marrow, and collagen-rich cuts. And then we'll get practical and look at how we can start including them in our diet without making it complicated or forcing you to eat something that you think you hate. So if you've been feeling like something's still a little bit off because you've been eating clean animal foods, or you've been curious about organs but haven't pulled the trigger, then stay tuned. This episode is for you. All right. So we have Jeff in the house here tonight, and this is Monday Night Live. So all of you who are watching can join us on screen and talk face to face. And it's a lot of fun and very enjoyable for you and for us when you do. So we cordially invite you to jump on the screen with us using your device and your camera. I'm going to post the link right now. So whether you're watching over on Facebook, X, or here on YouTube, you should see that link. I just posted it in the chat. And so on Facebook, it'll be in the comments. And YouTube, it's also in the chat comments. It's also pinned over on YouTube. And on X, I actually have no idea where it's at or if it's even there at all. So, but yes, come join us on screen. We would love to have you anytime. All right. So, Jeff, how are you doing today? What's the latest going down in the Lone Star State?
Oh, well, it's only about 100, 102 in the shop here, but it's 105 outside. So it's been a warm one all day. And so what do I choose to do today? Smoke meat.
Mm-hmm.
So fired up the pit, smoke those meatloafs, videoed the whole thing. Then I was spent the day cleaning out gray water grease traps, and I got to admit it was a warm one. It'll test your limits, but I don't know what our humidity was up here. Probably, I'm going to say, let's see. Yeah, I'm not even finding what it is, but it wasn't too terribly bad. Our humidity is fairly dry compared to some place like Florida, so we've got it pretty easy. I'll take the heat over the humidity anytime. Now then, folks, the humidity is only 22%, so we've got it pretty sweet here. I feel for them people down around Houston and back where I'm from, San Antonio. It gets mighty humid down there. And then people over in Florida, they got it even worse than we do. So I feel for them. Great subject tonight, nose to tail. This is something that is near and dear to my heart.
And good. And because we're going to probably lean on you for some of your experience. I have some experience with eating organ meats. and I plan to enlarge that experience some too. I was actually over the weekend. We went out to dinner with some friends of ours, and these are friends that we met at the dog park years ago, and their dogs and our dogs get along so well that every time my wife and I go to a concert or go out of town, this couple wants our dog and will watch our dog overnight, sometimes up to a week, and they never want any money. So we decided, well, we want to take you out to eat at least and treat you to show our appreciation. So we went to our favorite seafood boil, A plus crab, and had a good time there. You know, you got your crawfish, scallops, two different types of mussels, shrimps, Dungeness crab, snow crab, absolutely delicious. Raw oysters. It was their first time having raw oysters. They were
Oh,
brave enough to try it too. So my wife won't try it, but this couple they were willing to try it. So we got a dozen raw oysters and split them up, four for me, four for him, and four for her. And he tries his first one, and he's like, that's interesting. He goes, I felt like I just licked the seafloor. And then he tries another one, and yeah, they liked it, and they both ate them without any trouble. They enjoyed the whole experience. But while we were talking, so he's from Iran, and I'm not sure where she's from, uh, but probably over in that general area as well. And although I think they met over here, but we were talking about different things that people eat, and he says that he has at his house. He's got some beef heart in his freezer. He's got some sheep's liver in his freezer,
excellent.
and some other things. So even he bought a sheep, paid to have it butchered, packed, and keeps it frozen, and so he's going to have us over. Beef tongue. That's another thing. I've had beef tongue in a commercial setting on tacos.
Lingua.
Beef, yeah,
Yep.
lengua tacos. And he says he makes a great beef tongue, so he's gonna have me over, and we're gonna have beef tongue, we're gonna have beef heart, and we're gonna have sheep's liver, and I'm looking forward to it. I said I'll
Beef
try
tongue.
every bit
Beef
of it.
tongue is really good. You
Hmm.
know, it looks gross, sounds gross, but you're gonna boil it and skin it, and then you can take that soft tender meat. I like to fry it in some butter, slice it thin and fry it in some butter. It's great with eggs. Oh yeah,
Hmm.
beef tongue's good stuff. And sheep's liver is some really good liver. I like it better than beef liver.
All
All
right,
right.
hey Kurt, how you doing?
Hey, good evening, gentlemen.
Good. Tonight's theme is organ meats. We're wondering how do you do any organ meats?
If it's edible, I'll eat it. I've eaten,
All right.
I've had, let's see, tripe, lingua, uh, hog snout, ears, uh, oxtail, organs, liver. What else have I had? Intestine. So, yeah.
All right, very
I've
nice.
even eaten chicken butt.
Mhm.
Yummy.
All right,
Eat
very
chicken
good.
feet.
There's too much work for so little work.
They really are.
Not a favorite.
Yeah. I only eat organs once in a while. So there's a restaurant down the street from me that makes an excellent liver and onions. I struggle to make it as good at home. So I've made liver at home that's okay, and I've had liver that I've completely ruined. And then, but my friend from Saturday that I was talking about, I was telling him that I heard that eating it raw was good, and so I tried that before in the past, which I've talked about here on the channel and on the live streams. And the raw liver was actually really good. And he says that's one of the ways that they eat it over there. They said they'll eat raw liver with just some salt and some lemon juice. That's it. And I said, well, I'll have to give that a try. So I've got a lot of trying a lot of new things in my future, thanks to this friend of mine who has presented himself as he's a master of preparing these things. So I'm excited.
Is
Looking
he
forward.
Muslim?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. He doesn't dress in any particular way.
Right,
So
right.
I've never asked him. So.
Well, because I was going to tell you, you really have to try pig snout.
Mm-hmm.
That is delicious.
All right, pig snout. So, yep, I would try it. I would try it as well. So, all right, very good. Let's say hi to some people here in the chat. Unless your time is limited, Kurt, we can focus on you first if you want.
No, I mean it's limited, but it's not. I'm here just for a hot minute, and we're good.
All right. Is there anything you would like to discuss while you're here for that hot minute?
No, I don't have anything to. I mean, just say hi to everybody. I'm still around, still alive and kicking, still doing carnivore.
Awesome. Very good. Very nice. Well, Linda, first in the gate, as usual, was Linda Flanagan. She gets the first place award almost every week. Close second is always Linda McDaniel. They're usually neck and neck. Sometimes they trade places. Coach Juliet Edens is here. Good to see you. All right. And Bill Cook is in the house. And Linda says, Geezy, your meatloaf looked really good. And yes, I did want to say that while I quietly hunt for the link to Jeff's channel. I saw that he posted about 3 hours ago a new cooking video based on the meatloaf here. Zesty Keto Meatloaf by Geezy is what it's called. Here it is here. And Jeff, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, like I explained in the video. Now it's not carnivore; it's keto. But my philosophy is, this is a elimination diet. And once you get to where you want to be, health wise and physical and weight wise, then you can add a few things back in. And one of the things I've done is I've added a little bit of little bit of seasonings and some in this case paste pecani sauce, and works for me. But anyways, after sampling a lot of different meatloaf recipes and whatnot, I came up with this one, and it's the best I've ever had. It's just really, really good. And of course, it stays juicy. You run out, some of the fat renders out from the burger, but it's replaced by the fat of the bacon because it's wrapped in bacon. And of course, I put a pan underneath it when I've got it on the smoker, so the pan collects any of the fat that's lost, and then I pour that back over the slices of meatloaf, and it's mighty good stuff. It's very tasty.
Let me know, and please make a video of when you make that wrap that I sent you.
Yeah, I may change that up a little bit. He used sausage. I'm thinking chorizo would work real good in that. But yeah, I'll have to try that. Yeah, Kurt sent me a video the other day of what was that, smoking a fatty? It had nothing to do with what you're thinking. No, but it dealt with a lattice wrapped bacon and wrapping it up like a big, huge burrito.
I did want to commend you on progressing in your video making. Awesome. I mean, you got more oomph than me. Like it.
Well, this is a whole lot easier doing this live and in person than it is doing those videos, well, like I had to call you the other day and ask you how to do something, on YouTube, because, I don't figure out this technology real easy. And so there's a lot of stuff I don't know how to do yet, but I'm learning and I'm willing to learn. So I keep trying.
I think learning is half the fun, actually, as you learn how to edit, as you learn how to do this and that, I think that's a lot of what makes it enjoyable too.
Yeah. Next thing I need to learn how to do is put that, I don't know what you call it, a cover page, a thumbnail, whatever it is. It looks like an AI created thing or something. Just at the beginning before you even click on the video when you're scrolling through YouTube.
Yeah.
Like you do with yours.
Yeah.
the picture.
Yeah,
you
you
put
can
on
use
there.
you can use AI, or you could use Photoshop or any other kind of imaging editing program. You
Right.
got to
I got
know
to figure out how to do that and then put it on there.
yeah.
You know, uh, but
See,
I'll learn.
for me,
I'll learn.
editing all that thumbnail is too tedious, too monotonous for me. And I'm not one for paperwork, and I'm definitely not one for digital stuff like that. What you see is what you get for me.
That's pretty much what I'm doing for the most part. There's not going to be much editing or anything like that.
He did really well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And I'm OCD, so in my talking head videos, I'll even watch the captions and correct misspellings. Like when YouTube does the captions, and if it gets it wrong or misspells something, I have to go in there and fix it. It drives me nuts. I'll do all that first before I even hit publish, before I publish it. So, all right, Holly Spring here's here, and we got Sandy Blythe. Beverly says, "Hello all. I eat almost all of it, the whole animal from nose to tail." Isabella Goyer is here. And Sandy says, "Sending love to Rambo."
Yeah, my goat, my baby.
Yep.
Yeah, in fact, I fed him just before I come in here.
Mm-hmm. And Coach Juliet Edens says, "Nope, just the expensive parts for me, plus bone marrow broth. I know Dr. Barry says grow up and eat your liver." So this gets us to a good talking point. So I believe in eating liver once in a while. I don't believe in eating liver all the time. So you take two people who I look up to, Paul Saladino and Bart Kay, and the two of them hate each other. All right, so so Paul Saladino eats liver every day, and it's even theorized by Bart Kay and Judy Cho that maybe part of Paul Saladino's problems was eating liver too much, and then he got copper toxicity, vitamin toxicity, and that's why his carnivore diet didn't work for him, and he switched to more of an animal-based approach. And then Bart Kay will say, everything that you need is in the muscle meat alone, and I agree with that. But there are still, key nutrients, and we'll get into them later here. Each organ, the liver in particular. So I try and have somewhat of a balanced approach. I eat muscle meat most of the time, and then I will have liver, once a month, once every 2 months. I'll go down to that restaurant, have my liver and onions, but it's not something that, I'm obsessing over. There's people out there that they think they have to eat liver every day. And I guess as long as they're not overdoing it and they're fine, let them have it. But I don't think that's really the case for anybody. And I've only ever had beef liver. I've never had chicken liver or any other liver. And then I have had, I've never had beef heart, but I have had chicken heart and I've had turkey heart. So all of which, beef liver, turkey heart, chicken heart, I do like all of it when it's prepared properly. All right.
Chicken liver is very mild. My wife buys them once or twice a month. She just sautés them in a little butter and garlic. Mm-hmm. And they're extremely mild. I'm not a big liver eater myself. Don't really care that much for it, except in the form of a pate or a liverwurst. And maybe that's what maybe my next food video will be. Maybe I'll make some liverwurst, put out that recipe. But it's about the only way I really care for it. And then I eat it with pork rinds.
Either of you had beef lung?
Lung? No.
I have not.
Had lung.
It's good.
Yeah. Is there anything is it something you can describe, or is it something you have to try?
I had it overseas, and they tend to use different sauce, soy sauce, hoisin sauce, and whatnot. And it's good. The texture takes something to get used to. If you are somebody who is like a texture freak, where, like me, I despise tomatoes but I love ketchup. I love tomato soup. I don't like the texture of tomatoes, like beet. I can't stand pickled beets because of the texture. I mean, I don't eat that stuff now, but when I used to, I there's no way I could eat a pickled beet. So with lung, it's all about texture. And I'm sure it's a really delicate thing to cook, like liver. So
yeah, no, I understand what you were citing those examples for the sake of texture. I might struggle. I kind of struggle with the thought of things that look slimy, but maybe now that I have mastered raw oysters, maybe that won't bother me as much now. They're pretty slimy. So,
Yeah,
but,
but raw oysters are just so good.
they are good. Oh, they are so good. Bill hopes that your video doesn't fall off the stand, Kurt, but I assure you, Kurt's probably not sitting there completely in the nude. There you go. He's clothed. It'll be all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to the nose to tail, I think a lot of it is just that when all you buy is from a grocery store, you're just not going to have the opportunity to try these things. Yeah, you go to the store, and about the most you're going to get is you can find some stores will have chicken feet or something, you know, but that's not really that's nose and tail, but that's not, you know, an innard. But liver is about the only thing you usually find at most stores. Now you can go to some of the carniceries and you can get more of the guts of the animal, you know, like in the form of you know, you can get the lingua, the tongue. You can get what am I thinking of?
Right.
The stomach tripe. Yeah, that's what I was trying to come up with. Thank you. But in your standard American stores, you're not going to get much. Now, in my case, because I hunt, because we raise our own animals, I'm not going to waste any more. I basically don't waste any part of the animal. So, like, if I kill a deer or a hog, I'm going to take all the organ meats. I'm going to use them all, and bones. Any organ meats that I'm not going to use go to my dogs. Deer, I'll tan the hides. I even keep the skin from them. I use them in my leather shop. So, you know, I eat nose to tail because I'm not going to waste the animal that I went to the trouble to raise. And when I take a cow to market and have him or her butchered out, I'm getting all my fat back so I can keep I can make tallow out of it. I'm going to get the pancreas. I'm going to get the liver. Going to get the heart, the kidneys, all this stuff. And I eat it all. It's all good stuff. And back in not as much today because I don't work the ranches anymore. But when I would day work ranches, I was one of the guys that did all the castrating. So I might do 200-300 calves a day, you know, castrating them. And we keep right beside me. I'd have a small ice chest with ice water in it. And yep, there you go, Sandy, raw oysters.
Rocky Mountain.
But you know, when I take the testicles off the calf, they go right into that bucket of ice water. And then when we're through cutting calves, doctoring them, earmarking them, branding them, then that ice chest goes up to the house, and the ladies up there, they skin them, they prepare them, and they fry them, and then we will have them for lunch. And a lot of times, what I harvested that day gets put aside for the next roundup. What I did on the last roundup is what's served for lunch. You know, so we're eating the what we call calf fries. Further north, they call them Rocky Mountain oysters. You know, but it's just the testicles. And I've eaten sheep and goat or not goat, but I've eaten sheep testicles and they're okay too. But yeah, nose to tail, baby.
You ought to eat rooster nuts.
Turkey.
Turkey.
I've eaten a lot of turkey fries. Yeah. I used to go to this, we have this, there's a National Wild Turkey Federation. They have this big banquet. It's kind of like Ducks Unlimited. And I go to them every once in a while because I'm an avid turkey hunter. And they would always have turkey nuts there, and that was always, more of a gag than anything else, but we loved them. Good eating.
Yep.
Don't be afraid of that stuff, folks. It's all good food. And you go back to our ancestors. We're talking about the choice meats, the choice cuts, the prime cuts, all this. The insides was the choice for our ancestors. Like you'll take Native Americans at one time. When an Indian would kill a buffalo, the very first thing they would do. Now the women did all the skinning and butchering, but the men, they dropped a buffalo, they open that puppy up. First thing they do, they cut out that liver. And I'm gonna tell you what, liver on a buffalo is huge. They pull that liver out while it's still hot. They pull the gallbladder out. They split the gallbladder open. They pour the bile over the liver, and they just eat it raw right on the spot. Fantastic nutrition for that hard hunt they did all day. Then they'd take the gut, and they'd cut some of the gut out, and they'd sling it around their necks. And while they were riding around doing whatever, they'd chew on that gut. This is what they did. And they utilized every part of the animal. Everything got ate. So to them, that was the prized portion of the animal because that's where the most energy and nutrition was at. They didn't know that. But, in their instinct, that's what their body was craving. So, we have gotten away from that. A lot of people think that's gross these days, but to our ancestors, that was the prized meat right there.
All right. Very good. So Beverly says, my baba used to take the pig's head to boil and make head cheese, stuffed cow heart, cow tongue. I love liver.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that I have honestly never had. So I've yet to have the cow tongue, the heart, or any head cheese. Cranky Carnivore Cutler says, I eat cabeza. I don't know what that is.
Head, cabeza de vaca.
Tongue, trachea, tripe tripas,
Yep.
heart, liver, sweetbreads, brisket, chuck, ribs, flank, loins, round, shank, and feet. Pretty much complete nose to tail. What's a sweetbread?
It's not the pancreas. Or is it?
Look it up, Bob. I forget.
What is sweetbread? Someone can also try and beat my search into the chat too. No, that's not exist.
I was thinking thymus glands, but that ain't right.
What is sweetbread in the context of meat?
And that's another thing, those thymus glands.
Sweetbread is the culinary name for the thymus or pancreas.
Okay, it is
from a
thymus.
calf or lamb. Okay.
Yeah, you can only get them on the young animals.
Mm-hmm.
What I've done with them is out on an open fire on my grill, my wood fire, and I'll cook them on that and brush them with garlic butter.
Ooh.
They're good.
All right. Yeah, there we go. There's a good answer. Thymus and pancreas.
Yeah, thymus.
Yep. Dr. Nelson's in the house. Good to see you, Dr. Nelson. All right. Very good.
Bill thinks we're all nuts.
Bill says he's not out of the
Extreme.
woods, but he cut his dairy and his PSA went down from 4.49 to 2.7. So that's nice.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good. And let's see here. Carnivore says, Cutler says, I left out oxtail because their cost in Tucson is equal to ribeye out of my range. Oh, yeah. So I've never had oxtail either. Is that considered an organ meat?
No,
Yeah.
No, it's just the tail.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I would think.
Just tail of the cow. But I'm going to tell you what, you ever get a chance, you get it and buy it. In fact, Carnivore Teacher Alpha had a video today on that. He smoked his. I usually put mine in the crock pot with a chuck roast and slow cook it. Now you got to slow cook it because if you don't, it's like brisket. It's going to be got too much connective tissue, so you got to slow cook it. But the ones he did on his smoker today looked fantastic. They look really good. I think the next oxtails I get, I'm gonna smoke my next ones too. But that's one thing I demand from my cow when I get my cows butchered is I want that oxtail. See, I've got a theory: if you don't get your oxtail back, it's because they kept it for themselves.
I'm gonna get off here. So, you gentlemen have a good night and good seeing everybody.
All right. Good seeing you too, Kurt. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Take it easy, man.
All right, let's see here. It is 8:30. We've been on for half an hour, so think about joining us on screen, just like Jeff and just like Kurt here. I'm going to post the link again in the chat. All you got to do is click that. It opens up in your browser. You don't have to download anything, and you get to talk to us face to face. And you can ask any questions you want, or tell us about your carnivore experience, or talk about the organ meats that you like or dislike. We would love to talk to you. And if you don't want to come on screen, we'd love to hear that in the chat as well. So we'll go back to the chat here. Sandy says, "I liver lover here, live lover here, liver lover here, calf and chicken." All right, and then Miss Laugh a Lot says, "Raw liver is not bad at all." Yeah, no, it was surprising because I'm a little. The first time I had it, I was a little unsure about eating raw meat. But I got this liver and from my favorite local butcher, which in my area is called Duma Meats in Akron, well, probably Mogador. And so I got some fresh liver, and I was like, before I try cooking this up, I'm going to cut up some pieces off. I put it in my mouth, chewed it, and I was like, this is actually good. It's actually really good. I found it better than the cooking of the liver that I was about to do, where I ended up ruining it. So, well, like my friend from Saturday, he says that the way they enjoy it is with some lemon juice and some salt, just raw liver, lemon juice, and salt. So I said, I'll definitely have to try that. I can do that because I always have lemon juice and salt on here at the house.
Yeah, a lot of people, they'll eat, liver and organ meats, for the nutritional value. I don't. I eat it because I like eating it. I eat it because I don't want to waste the animal. That's my whole thing with it. And I do like it. I mean, I love the heart. I've turned more people on the heart around deer camps than anywhere because that's the first thing I do when I take a deer. When I gut him, I take the heart out, and that's going to be my supper that evening. And I'd have them old boys. They'd be like, "What in the world have you done?" I said, "I'm cooking up the best part of the deer right here." And once I turn them onto it, I turn them into converts.
All right. Catching up on some of the current comments here. We saw Amy is in the house. Keto Rockstars, good to see you. And such a rich broth, oxtail.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I encourage everybody to go check out Carnivore Teacher Alpha's channel today and check out his oxtail video he did. It was very good.
Amy says, who wants to come to Indiana next August, so a year from now, for a cabin retreat? So I don't know what she's talking about, but maybe she'd like to tell us more about that. So anyway, if you didn't see that, give that some thought. Let's go back to my starred comments here. Cranky Carnivore Cutler, I enjoy my liver salted and dry aged to jerky consistency.
You got my wheels turning.
All right.
I may have to slice some up, make some jerky out of it, see how it works.
That's another thing that I have yet to do is dry age anything. So that's when you leave the meat out exposed in your fridge on a rack, right?
Yeah, you want to salt it pretty good,
Mm,
uh, and it draws some moisture out, and it'll form a dry, dark, dry skin on the outside of it called a pedicle. And depending on how long you dry age it, if you only dry age it for a week, you won't need to trim any off. If you dry age it for a month or so, you're going to have a pretty thick pedicle, and you want to trim that off to get to the sweeter, more tender meat. But as I advise people, if you trim that pedicle off, don't throw it away. Don't give it to the dogs. Pan fry it. Throw you some butter in the pan or some tallow. Pan fry it. Nice and thin and crispy, and it's delicious.
all right. It's something that always intrigues me because, I still, grew up in that world where, meat came in a little package with the plastic cellophane over it. And you had to use it within a couple days because then it started to go bad. So the idea of like leaving it open to the exposed air kind of conflicts with the way I've always thought about meat,
Sure.
but I understand salting it and everything. So,
Yeah, and that's the point. You got to salt it.
mhm. Mason says buy pluck seasoning. It's 100% organ powder to sprinkle on meat, all beef organs. And so, yes, that's actually good advice. So if you absolutely can't stand the organ meats, but you do want to get to the nutrition. Do you want to get the nutrition from it, which we're going to get into in a little bit. And then yeah, you could buy the pluck seasoning. That's one option. Another option is a supplement like the one that Saladino sells, Lineage, Heart and Soil, liver supplements. Ancestral supplements is another one. You can do the liver capsules. You can get some liver nutrition that way, the dry desiccated liver. I've seen products though, and I even got a YouTube short on this too, where they sell burger that's got the organ meats in the burger already, and you can't even taste it when they do that. So if you go to your local butcher, you could even request that, especially if you buy a cow. You can say you want to keep the organs, but chop it up and put it in with the burger meat, because that way you'll get the nutrition from it, but you won't have to taste it because it'll just taste like burger that way.
Yeah, you can do that with any of the organ meat, the heart, the liver. There's a lot of places that'll do it for you.
Yeah. Rodney is here, our good friend Rodney. Good to see you, Rodney Payne. He says, greetings from hot and a little less humid Louisiana. We ate some beef liver recently. My Cajun wife grew up eating everything from head to tail. They raised their own cattle and pigs, etc. My wife likes the beef heart the best. They made hog head meat also.
Yep.
All right. Very nice.
Country folk.
Yeah. All right. Sandy says, I eat liver like every 2 weeks. And I think that's actually probably a good schedule. I don't think you need to eat it daily. And I don't think you need to eat it in mass amounts, but as a supplement every couple of weeks would be really good. Earlier we were talking about those who can't stand the taste. Another thing that I've heard people do is they freeze their liver, or they chop it up into portions, like 1 ounce portions, and then they freeze it. And then every day they'll get a piece of that frozen liver out and they'll swallow it with some water like a pill, because they don't want to taste it, but they still want to have some liver every day. And then that way they get it. And because it's, as they say, liver is like nature's multivitamin. So that's another way you can take it if you're not keen on trying to cook it or prepare it in some other fashion. Rodney also says that grass-fed sheep liver is mild and the best I've ever had. We can buy all this stuff right down the road here in Louisiana.
Yep. Like I said before, sheep liver is real good.
I'm looking forward to trying some. Carnivore Muscle Pro. He's over in the UK, I believe. 6.5 years carnivore. I stopped bothering with awful.
Awful.
Awful. Overhyped. The body simply upregulates biological pathways to make it efficient without extra stuff. Uh, Jeff, you want to explain what offal is?
Yeah, it's everything on the inside. It's
Okay.
guts.
All right.
Yeah, it's all you entered stuff we're talking about, the stuff that I don't throw away,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not going to waste the. We've got a thing. We don't. If I take a life, I don't want to waste that life. And since I hunt and raise my own food, you know, I mean, I'll tell you a story one time. So I was going out to property I was leasing for hunting, and this was several years ago. And as I'm coming around this bend on this trail, I'm gonna go take down a hog pen. So I've got my trailer hooked up to my pickup, and I'm going around along the river. I'm going around this bend, and my wife says, "Stop! There's a hog out there. And there's a hog in the trail." And I always carried my rifle with me. So I get out of the pickup, lay across the hood, and I shoot that hog. And when I did that, about 10 piglets jump up out of the grass and start running everywhere. Well, I'm using an AR, so I just sit there and I just start popping shots. And I hit two of them piglets. Well, one of them went off this bank about 30 feet high down to the river. The river was real low at this time, and wasn't much more than a creek. Anyhow, it goes down there, and my wife's just like, "Man, how are we going to recover that thing?" I said, "I don't think we are. We're not getting down this cliff. That's just too steep, and I don't know any other way down." And she says, "Well, we just can't. We can't let it go. You know, we killed it. We can't lose it." And she went hunting. No, she went further on up the creek until she found a path down in there. Had to walk through 3 feet of water, filling up her mud boots and everything. And she had to go about 150 yards along that river, 3 feet of water till she got to that little piglet, and she recovered that thing and brought it back. And piglets are really nice, because you skin them out and everything, put them whole on the smoker, smoke them till they're nice and tender. They're nice. They work out good. But yeah, I mean, that's how adamant we are. We don't waste a life. There's only two things we kill. We kill varmints and we kill food. We don't kill for the sake of killing.
All right. Very good. And if you're a religious person, that harmonizes with your religious text too, where hunting for food is okay and hunting for sport is not. So,
Yeah, I'm not a sport hunter.
mhm.
I'm a sustenance hunter.
All right. And then Carnivore Cutler says, I enjoy chicken gizzards, hearts, livers fried together. And he also says, I typically eat half a slice of beef liver per week. All right. Very good. That's a good schedule also. And so anyway, we were talking about the nutrition. Carnivore Muscle Pro from the UK, he made the comment that he doesn't eat any of the offal. And so he's pretty much a muscle meat eater. And we know Bart K, he says all you need to eat is the muscle meat. And by and large, I do agree.
Mm-hmm.
Muscle meat alone works for most people. I do think one should eat a variety of meats to get a complete nutritional profile. So you're not just eating ruminants, but you'll eat some pork, poultry, and seafood as well. And however, I've had some cases where I know individuals who ended up with certain deficiencies. I know someone that's been doing carnivore and they've got a folate deficiency after some time. And it's actually starting to create bigger problems for their health down the road as well. Likewise, I think after about 5 years, I think Michaela Peterson, said publicly that she had a folate deficiency and had to start, she had to start eating liver, to take care of that. And so that's kind of what I'm going to get into next is the specific nutrients by part. So liver is considered nature's multivitamin, and it benefits you in the following ways. It's extremely high in bioavailable vitamin A, which we call retinol. It's loaded with B vitamins, including B12, folate, riboflavin, and B2. And then it's got heme iron, copper, and zinc. And copper can be kind of like a delicate thing. That's another reason why you don't want to eat too much of it all the time, because copper toxicity is a thing. Vitamin A toxicity is a thing. And then while there is some trace amounts of vitamin C in muscle meat, there's even a little more vitamin C in your liver. So, and then I had to look the following. So I'd actually known that for a long time, because liver is something that in the carnivore community we all sort of plug and talk about. But these other organs are kind of odd. I had to look it up. Heart has a lot of is a natural source of CoQ10, has a strong vitamin B profile, and is a good source of zinc and iron. And then kidney, I've never thought about eating an animal's kidneys, and although I've heard that, like, since someone told me one time that since I have kidney disease, I should try eating kidney, that it would help. I don't know if I actually believe that, but I'm willing to look into it for
If
sure.
we don't believe dietary fat makes you fat, I don't see how eating a kidney can improve your kidney.
I don't see it either. So I'm willing to look into it.
Not going to say
it's right off the bat.
wrong.
Right off the bat, there's some things that you hear that you just right away you're like, yeah, that doesn't have the ring of truth to it. That's one of them. So, but kidney is an excellent source of selenium. It's also high in B12 and other B vitamins, and contains the DAO enzyme, which helps with histamine issues. And so that might be a reason why you would take kidney. Bone marrow, good source of fat soluble vitamins. So you got your D, your K, your A, and then the other ones. And then the bone marrow has collagen precursors and is mineral rich, with the most obvious one, calcium. And then, of course, magnesium and phosphorus. Actually, if you know much about bones, that's the other obvious one. Calcium and phosphorus are two
Bone
minerals.
marrow. We call that beef butter.
Beef butter. Yeah.
Oh, it's such good stuff.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of marrow bones in my freezer right now.
Yeah. And then collagen-rich cuts like bone, skin, tendons, oxtail, connective tissue, bone broth. They're all going to be high sources of collagen, which breaks down into gelatin. They're going to be high in glycine and proline, and those things will support joint, skin, gut lining, and connective tissues that you're consuming from them. Actually, will support yours. So there's a little ring of truth there in certain cases there. So definitely, if your carnivore diet, you find yourself becoming deficient or lacking in something, usually a little bit of organ meat, again, not all the time, but a little bit of organ meat, as an addition to it, can help balance that nutritional profile out.
Well, the only one I ever hear of any cautionary notes is with the liver due to the vitamin A toxicity. When it comes to heart and kidneys and the rest of them, I never hear of any warning, danger signs or danger signals from it. But, you mentioned folate. And a lot of people don't understand, women especially, may not understand how important folate is to them, especially if they're of childbearing age. And the reason I say this is we know from personal experience. We lost our first granddaughter at birth. My daughter's first child, lost her at birth due to my daughter not having enough folate through her pregnancy. And so from then on, she started taking folate supplements, prenatal supplements, anytime she got pregnant, just to make sure, because she was deficient. And so that's a very, very important thing if you're pregnant and going to have kids, is folate is extremely important, because you can lose your child.
Yeah, folate. That's especially important during the earliest, weeks of pregnancy. Yeah, and because a lot of folate goes into forming the baby's brain and the spinal cord, and that happens in the first 3 to 4 weeks of pregnancy. And so there's different recommendations, typically 400 to 600 micrograms of folate a day is what the recommendation is. Folate also does, I mean, not just for women, but does things for men too. So folate helps with red blood cell formation and DNA synthesis and cell division, and other things like that too. So if you're low in folate, you might have fatigue, weakness, sores, especially in the mouth, and then anemia because you're not producing that red blood cells. So liver, that's definitely where you want to tap into liver, because liver is one of the richest sources of folate. So. Yeah. And that's why Michaela Peterson, when she found out she had a folate deficiency after 5 years, so for her it took some time. It took 5 years of eating this way for the deficiency to become manifest. As she started eating liver, and of course there's supplements you can take too. But liver. If you have the all natural mindset like most of us do, then the liver is going to be your numero uno choice. But then I know others who have done, I think someone on the forum, I think they were 6 months maybe, or was it a year? And then they were already having a folate deficiency and having some severe issues as a result of it. So again, that's kind of unique per individual, and then there's other individuals, of course, we know that have eaten, muscle meat and no liver for even much longer and still haven't seen any signs of a folate deficiency. So it can be different for each person. So when we talk about this eating the organ meats, and is it something that is missing from your diet, for you, maybe not, for others, maybe so, because, we're all different. And just in the case of this example here, you could be just fine not eating the muscle meats or not eating the organ meats on a regular basis, whereas someone else might find that they do better eating it a little more often. All right. Let's see here. I saw my name highlighted there. I'll come back to that in a minute. Going back to the start comments, Rodney says, we recently found a slaughterhouse nearby and can probably get head to tail stuff there. I plan on getting most of my meat there from now on. Thank you, Jesus. So, all right. Very good. It's always good to have a local butcher. So, we love Duma meats here. We have another one north of me in Streetsboro called Ohio. Was it Buckeye Quality Meats? They're like a everything's fresh, local ranchers kind of thing. But they're more pricey. They're more pricey than Duma's. Duma's probably because Duma's has a massive operation. You go in there on a Saturday and it's almost shoulder to shoulder people in there. It's amazing how much business that they get. So it could be just a matter of they do more volume, therefore everything's a little bit cheaper. All right. Carnivore Cutler smacks himself upside the head and says, oh, yeah, kidney. I forgot about kidney. It's been a couple months, though. So, yeah, he listed all the organs and extras that he eats, which is
that's another one I like. I like grilling over a wood fire. Brush it with a little butter.
All right, let's see here. Now I'm caught up. Wow, the commercials. That's. Are you talking about the YouTube?
Yeah. Oh, you've made the big time, Bob.
Oh, okay.
You made. I go on some channels when they're first starting up, and there's never any commercials. And then once they start having commercials, I went, well, there they go. They made the big time. You didn't have commercials for the longest time. And then the last week and now this week, you got commercials popping up. So you made the big time.
I pay for YouTube Premium, so I never have to I'm never subjected to the YouTube ads. They would probably drive me nuts. If you want to watch this commercial free, Carnivore Talk on X, you can see it there. Of course, you're not going to see the chat, although, or you could also do Carnivore Talk on Facebook. and you're not going to see the chat. But what you can do is you actually can go to YouTube, and in the chat, there's a 3-dot menu. You can pop out the chat in another window, and then you could go to X or Facebook, and then you're not going to be subject to the YouTube ads there. So if it's driving you too crazy, there's some workarounds. Latro says, I don't eat the nose because it smells.
Yeah, he made it funny.
All right. Spanky says, no organs for this guy, to each their own. All right. Very good. Lazy carnivore. There's the highlighted comment. Bob, have you seen this cardiothoracic surgeon Michael Richmond, MD video, why eating red meat clogs your heart arteries because carnitine raises TMAO levels, leading to a risk of atherosclerosis, cardiovascular disease? Let me look him up. I may have seen. Is he the guy that's long? Is he like real? Does he talk like he's running on empty?
Well, it hasn't done it to mine yet.
Oh, I said Redmond. I typed that wrong.
Hasn't done it to Rick. Rick's still trying hard to get that heart attack. Ain't happened yet. In fact, my cardiologist loves how I eat because I reversed my heart disease.
I don't. So a web search isn't turning up anything. Let me look them up on Google or YouTube. I mean, let's go, Michael. Hit my caps lock button. Michael Richmond, MD. Oh, yeah, so I've seen him before. I don't think I've ever watched anything to his completion. I think I get a couple seconds into it, and I'm like, yeah, swipe, swipe away. So, yeah, he's one of those that kind of, I don't know. Like I said, he sounds like he's running on empty. So, you know. He sounds like he needs a steak. But I mean, if you wanted me to watch a particular video, I'll do that. There's another one that's also probably on his same side of the matter. So there, obviously the LDL heart disease is kind of divided into two camps: those who think it's something important, those who think it's not the big kahuna. So we're we don't think it's the big kahuna. So I think this guy here, cardiothoracic surgeon, I think Kerry Mann did a video on this guy. He talks about how he's double board certified or something like that. There's another one here in actually Toledo, Ohio, Dr. Allo. Kind of like him, kind of don't like him thing, same thing. Double board certified, carnivore diet's bad, and all this stuff that we know not to be true. But he'll tell you he knows to be true. So,
yeah, I'd love for them to actually look at the community, look at the people, look at what it's done for them. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like my last doctor that I no longer use anymore. All he could focus on was my cholesterol. He praised everything else that I did. He told me, he said, man, he says, you're my one patient that actually gets it, till he found out what I did, to get it. And then all he can focus on is cholesterol. What about all the other improvements? So you would rather me stop doing what I'm doing to bring my cholesterol down and go back to being, sick throughout my body? Even if the cholesterol was an issue, that's 1%. But you'd rather me be 90% unhealthy just so my cholesterol is low. Makes no sense to me. And of course, we know I believe more of the truth about cholesterol than most people do.
Well, so like for people like him, okay, Michael Richmond, Dr. Allo, how do you explain a case like Nick Norwitz?
Yeah.
LDL of 1,000 for years, arteries clean as a whistle. So, these guys believe that LDL on its own is causal
Right.
for atherosclerosis.
Well,
We don't think that. We think that LDL on its own isn't. Once other fires get set in motion, then yes, the LDL could be a contributing factor. But it's such a small percentage. Metabolic disease, diabetes, high blood sugar, all those things are, there's studies done where they show this stuff on charts and pie graphs as what's actually, more of a risk factor. LDL kind of ranks close to the bottom,
Yeah. Yeah. And when they look at this, red meat causes heart disease, of course, what are they looking at? These studies that included McDonald's hamburgers in the study.
Pepperoni pizza.
That are basically vegetarian,
Yeah.
According to Ken Berry. They just don't get it. They don't understand. They won't look at what we actually do and how we actually live. Because it's, when you add all those other factors in, maybe it means something to those people that eat a sad diet all the time. But I like the way Tony Hampton puts it. He breaks it down. He breaks it down to the particles. Because he won't dismiss LDL. But he says, well, let's look at the LDL. What kind of LDL do you have? How is it affecting your body? That's how we need to look at it. And I agree with him, because everybody's body is different. And so things are going to affect each other different. Now, when I had my very first AFib attack, and it was a bad one, they actually in the ER thought I was having a heart attack. And but just to make sure, it turned out I was in AFib. But just to make sure, they had me going for a nuclear stress test, and then did contrast imaging and all this other stuff. And they did a thorough scan of my heart, and they could find absolutely no damage, and they couldn't find any blockage. I was 100% clean, and I wasn't carnivore then. I was a bad sad eater. So my body just wasn't worried about it. My body didn't care about cholesterol. It wasn't affecting me. So I'm darn sure not worried about it now that I'm a carnivore.
For anybody who's interested in cholesterol and LDL and has concerns, you should watch the Cholesterol Code, which is now for free on YouTube.
I've got that bookmarked, and I keep forgetting to watch it. Just got too much going on.
Yeah, actually, I am going to find it. You can buy it or rent it here, or here it is. Share, copy. I'll paste the link right here. So anybody who's in the audience watching, here comes the link for the Cholesterol Code. So you can buy it on Amazon, you can buy it on YouTube, but you can also watch it for free right there. It's an hour and 44 minutes. It is worth every second of your time. Kelly, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. The sciatic thing is starting to recite a little better. Still walking with a cane, but about 2 more weeks, and I'll be a new man.
Right. When is the surgery?
Next Friday, August 28th.
28th. Okay. I was kind of, I had in my mind it was the 18th, but I'm off by a digit. 28th. All right. The time.
For all you prayer warriors out there, send them up for Kelly on the 28th.
Yep. Hip replacement surgery.
Yeah, I kind of want to do a little comment. We're talking, y'all were talking about, this cardiac doctor, that Kerry man, that saying how bad, they always focus on. If they're saying that this diet is bad, I want to explain to them how in early days on my carnivore, probably 7 months, I went to see my heart doctor, which I don't see him anymore because they closed the Missouri Heart Center, but he sent me for an echocardiogram because he's noticed an abnormality on the EKG when they took it. 752 days later on carnivore, last week when I had my pre-op, they took my EKG because it's, to make sure my heart's okay. normal. It was good. No blood pressure medicine. They took my blood pressure on my final doctor's appointment, the internal medicine, to go over the blood, lab work, 122/70. And I was kind of agitated earlier because the Sherwood-Williams forgot to deliver our paint, and we had painters waiting on 2 apartments. And I was a little agitated, got that taken care of. Even talking about that, a little bit of stress, all that stuff, 122/70.
That's beautiful.
And I was figuring, this is the last doctor. He's going to talk about the cholesterol. He's going to talk about LDL. He went over my labs, says your liver functions are great, your kidney functions are great. He says you're cleared for surgery. Not one time he talked about, oh, your LDL is high. You got to watch your cholesterol. We need to put you on. None of that.
Good deal.
All righty. Very good. I was just kind of looking at some of the comments here. So let's start here. Latro said, I've had some dried beef organs, but once they are gone, probably won't buy more. I just make sure I wasn't missing something. All right. Very good. Sherilyn, health coach, mentions B9. That might have been in response to somebody else, but these organ meats are going to be an excellent source of B9. In fact, so beef liver is a good source of B9, and it's the most commonly eaten of all of them. However, chicken liver is like 4 times as much, and turkey liver is almost close to chicken liver too. So turkey liver, chicken liver, massive amounts of B9. Spanky says, I rate organ meats with sardines. Neither one for me ever. LOL. Like you said, you do you. Cheers. Yeah, no, that's fine. You know what? Sardines I can eat, but I'm like you. I have this can on my desk that I brought up here. We did a video, a Monday night live stream on carnivore snacks. It was months ago. I still haven't opened this thing yet.
I'm not a fan of sardines.
I got till December before the can goes bad. So I go through phases. I go through phases. Like I can eat them when I'm like, oh, I'll get some sardines, and I can eat them for a couple days, and then after that, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I ever want a sardine again, and it'll be months before I eat them again. So I like them.
Yeah.
I like them, but I don't. But I get tired of them quick.
So I don't like them. I'd rather get my omega-3s in pill form or go eat some salmon or something. But I'm just not a sardine fan. And my whole issue, and I've mentioned it before, is the same thing. I love smoked oysters. I don't care to eat them though, simply because I always ate sardines and smoked oysters out of the can with crackers. And so I have that association. If I try to eat them now, I want crackers. And they don't taste good to me without crackers. Well, I won't eat crackers now. So, I mean, now I could do what Anita did up there in Canada. She made a flatbread and incorporated the sardines into the flatbread. She mixed them up in there. That was kind of interesting. But I don't know if I want to go to that much trouble just to get some sardines.
I tried them last winter, and they went down pretty good. They taste pretty good. I got one that was just the fillets. They weren't like the sardines, the skin, the fins, and all that. It was just the fillets. They tasted pretty good. It tasted like eating tuna. And then I burped up, and it was the most awfulest taste. I didn't even finish. I had beef. I think I had steak. I was done. I didn't even eat. I fasted the rest of the day. I could not eat anything. It just ruined my appetite.
Oh, that's too good.
And I have not touched sardines. I always went by the sardines in this aisle, and I go look, and then I go right back to that. I'm like, nope, not doing it. Not today.
Well, and the hard thing too, my wife even asked me if you can buy them online. I said, yeah, I'm sure you can. Why? She says, because I can't find any clean ones. She's looking for just, in water, and she's struggling to find any clean ones. So she gets the ones with the olive oil, and then that's not going to be quality olive oil. You can't trust it.
No.
All right. Sherilyn, health coach, says the commercials completely block out the conversation. That's annoying. I can see where that'd be annoying. Here's a tip. Latro says Firefox install uBlock Origin. Poof, commercials gone. All right, there you go. And then there's Cranky here says I always pop out the chat. I'll have to watch the video on Facebook because Geezy's story was interrupted with a commercial. So yeah, like I said, there's the other options. Watch it on Facebook, watch it on X Premium. Carnivore Talk is my account over there. It's streaming there too. I'm not on YouTube right now. I'm actually on StreamYard. And
Yeah,
so
same.
yeah, so I don't know.
I've got it up on my phone so I can look at the chat. But
Yeah. So those are your workarounds. We got 6 have taken the advice or watching on X, 1 on Facebook, and we got 38 here on YouTube. So and all right. Very good. So no, it's annoying that if it interrupts the stream that and then plays it, because then now you're 30 seconds behind. I could see where that'd be very, very frustrating. It'd be nice if it just like maybe put like a banner ad on the bottom or the side, or if they came up with another idea.
Well, I'm noticing on mine when a commercial pops up, the screen is still there. This is weird because usually on most of these, if I'm watching something, and I guess it's because it's a recorded one and this is live, maybe that's the difference. But usually the commercial blocks everything and then it comes right back to where it left off. But that's on the recorded ones. On the live here, what it does to mine is the commercial pops up at the bottom of the screen. It blocks out the chat, but I can still see what's going on, but I have no idea if I can hear it because I got my volume turned down. I've just never seen it do that before.
Okay. All right. Oh, there we go. I just see that here. It doesn't pause the video during the commercials. Whatever was said was missed.
Yeah, I guess that's only on the live, or I mean on the the recorded ones.
Yeah. Well, it's still annoying because you.
Sure.
I mean, this is really more about listening than it is watching.
A lot of times when I'm working, I'm cutting pastures, whatever I'm doing, I'll have a long YouTube video on. And it's so annoying that every time I'm fixing to do something, where I'm not going to be able to get to my phone to skip the commercial will come on, and I got to drop what I'm doing and go over and get my phone and skip the commercial. And I'm bound and determined I'm not going to pay to skip them things. But some days it just aggravates me so much. I'm about ready to drop the coin to do it.
Well, so I use YouTube Music and I hate the commercials. So I enjoy it. And also with my family account, I can have 6 accounts tied to my family account, and they all get YouTube Music and they all get ad-free YouTube. So, I've got my wife and I've got my 2 children, and then I think I have my dad on one, and I still have like an empty slot, So it's pretty nice for the family plan, and it'd be much cheaper for a single individual,
Well, they raised the rate $2 or almost $2 because it was like $12.99 or $13.99. Now it's almost $15.99 a month.
And see, when I get ads from YouTube to subscribe, for their premium service, it's $20. But my boy says he only pays $10 to be commercial free. But I never see that for, they always offer it to me for $20. I'm just not going to pay $20 a month. I'll put up with the aggravation.
YouTube premium costs USA. I wonder if I can do it. It will tell me this offer is not available. Probably because I'm already a subscriber. April 26th, Android Authority says subscribers are, the individual plan is $15.99 and the family plan is $26.99. And I know I paid the $26.99 one. So yeah, $15.99 for an individual, $26.99 for a family of up to 6. Yeah. That's what it should be. All right. Back to the chat. No baloney for me either. Oh, by the way, Sherilyn, holistic health coach, found the Facebook video because all of a sudden on StreamYard I have a Facebook like, and it's from her. So, so she found it. All right, very nice. Spanky Golf Addict says no bologna for me or hot dogs. LOL. I will still eat those from time to time. I actually enjoy bologna.
I will. I
Yeah.
give them that sense. I get the members mark. It's 1 carb per dog, and it don't bother me. I mean, I'm on. I'm working right now to more of a budget right now because I'm getting ready to have only 40%, 60% of my pay for the next 12 weeks after this next when I have my surgery. So it don't bother me. I can eat them.
Yep.
No, I watched. In fact, there was a short that popped up in my feed earlier today. Ken Berry, he's at the grocery store and he had a whole 5-pound chub of bologna roll. We call them a chub down here, and I almost commented on that short. He was talking about slice your own and all this. Well, down here, what we do with a 5-pound chub is we'll score it, season it, put it on the smoker.
Yeah, I saw that, and I want to do that. I was on like today.
Smoked bologna is good stuff, buddy.
I saw your video with your meatloaf, and I'm like, how fast can I get to Texas?
Oh, and something I totally forgot, and Latro brought it up. He mentioned it, and I thought, man, I totally forgot to mention that in that video. That meatloaf recipe works great for meatballs. You can do all the same ingredients, roll up your meatballs and cook them in your air fryer, and they make fantastic meatballs. But what I do with the bacon is I will cook the bacon first, cut it up, and add it to the meat for the meatballs. That's the only difference, but I still get the bacon in there. So the meatloaf recipe works great for meatballs also. I just wish I'd have remembered to do that in the video. But I think everybody that subscribes is everybody from here anyhow. So.
Yeah, I saved your video in my private carnivore ones that don't have a recipe card or I can print off. I got it in a private carnivore recipes, keto carnivore recipes just for me.
Yeah, and I don't know how to do that yet, to put all that stuff down there, or otherwise I would do that. But I'm still learning. I'll get it figured out one of these days, or somebody will teach me.
Yeah, I'd be happy to walk you through it. All right. So Spanky Golf Addict continues. I did too until I went through a meat plant and saw the making of them. Scared me straight, so to speak. So he's
It's just a fine ground meat.
Yeah, he's talking about hot dogs and bologna.
You can make it at home.
So
go watch Bearded Butchers.
Mm-hmm.
They have a video on making hot dogs, on making any kind of sausage you want, and it's just a super fine grind is all it is.
Yeah.
Now, I will admit, there's low quality dogs, there's high quality dogs, and you'll pay the difference in price. But like you take Bar S, that's low quality. And I pretty much know for a fact they put bone meal in it. Because when you're eating it, you can actually feel the bone meal in the meat. Not that that's a bad thing. It's good calcium, but it just shows lack of quality in their processing.
So I still eat beef bologna. I don't like to get the pork bologna. I like to get beef bologna, and I'll still eat hot dogs. I try and get to the cleanest ones I can find. And I don't eat them often. I mean, it's I'm just not opposed to it. Like for instance, over summer, if I go to like a graduation party, and they've got hot dogs and hamburgers, and then like cookies and brownies and all the sweets and everything, I can eat the hot dogs and the hamburgers and still fill up and participate and be part of everything and stay true to my carnivore diet. So, but with this thought in mind, I used to, when I was like, I don't know, 19, maybe 20, I moved to Canton and I got a job as a temp at a place called Superior Meats, and basically it was a hot dog factory in Canton. And when you started your day at work, yeah, if you had facial hair, you had to wear a beard net, you had to have a hair net, you had to put on this like white, robe, just like a mad scientist, and then you had to wash and sanitize your hands. You had to put on these 3 pairs of plastic gloves and stick them under this thing that melted them to your fingers. Then you had to dip that into sanitizing solution. So they were really, really big on sanitization. And the whole building was kept at 42 degrees. And then first place they placed me was in quality control. And so I had a box of hot dogs, good hot dogs, and then these conveyor belts would go by with all these hot dogs on them really fast, and I had to keep my eyes on them. And anytime I saw a hot dog that was too short, too long, or too wrinkled, or not closed off on one end, I had to fling it out of its slot and quickly replace it with a good hot dog. And so I'm doing that for a couple hours, very monotonous. And it's cold in there. And so like I can feel my nose wanting to drip. And there's USDA inspectors all over the place. And finally, at one point, I couldn't take it anymore. And I went this with my arm, and I just went like that. Someone hits stop. They stop. They actually grab me, pull me off the line. They get someone to replace me. They send me back to the beginning. I have to take everything off and re-sanitize, put on new gloves, new robe, and everything, new beard net, new hair net, and everything, and go back. So that's how strict they were, which is actually impressive. And then I went back, and then I was in packaging. So then the hot dogs would drop into the bottom plastic portion, and then they get stamped with the top portion. And they'd get cut into individual packages. They'd come down a conveyor belt. Then I had to grab multiple packs at a time, box them up, tape the box shut, stamp it, and keep doing that for hours. And I hated it. It sucked. At lunchtime, I borrowed some money off of somebody else to get something out of the vending machine. And they're all talking about, man, this is like the greatest job I ever had. And I was like, oh, I'm so miserable here. And when the whistle blew to go back to work, I punched my clock back in. Then I punched it again to clock out. And I actually just walked out the door, got in my car, and left. I couldn't stand it. But when I was talking to one of the guys in the lunchroom, he was working further up where they made the hot dogs. And I wasn't talking to him, but another person at the table was. And he's like, so what goes into a hot dog anyway? And the guy said, you don't want to know. Which I don't know what that meant, because we know what goes into a hot dog. It's not that bad.
It's basically an old saying,
Yeah.
You don't want to see how the sausage is made.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, for the most part, it's good meat, it's good food. It's just that it's not the best cuts. And yeah, sometimes they put stuff in there that you wouldn't normally eat, but so we're opening morning of dove season one year. We're camping out, me and some of my buddies. And I'm always the guy that cooks breakfast. I'm always the first one up. I'm always an early riser. So I get the coffee on and I start cooking breakfast. Well, I'm cooking. I'm on, forgive me, this is back when I was sad. So I'm going to make breakfast tacos. And I'm going to make chorizo and egg breakfast tacos. So I got the chorizo cooking. One of the guys gets up and he comes out there and he goes, what you cooking? I said, chorizo and eggs. And he says, what's chorizo? I said, you don't want to know. He said, no, really? What's chorizo? And I said, I'm telling you, you don't want to know. And he says, yeah, I really want to know. I said, all right. I said, you know how when they finish processing the cow, everything that's left over, they make hot dogs out of it? He goes, oh, so it's like a Mexican hot dog? I said, no. When they're finished processing the hot dogs, whatever's left over goes into the chorizo. So if you think hot dogs are bad, stay away from the chorizo. Because I mean, it'll actually tell you right on there. They put the squeal in it, they put the spleen in it, they put the snout in it, they put the ears in it. I mean, it gets everything left over from the hot dog goes into the chorizo. So, just saying. And
Kelly, I
chorizo.
muted you, Kelly, because there's some background noise going on over there. Do you have a TV on or anything?
I know what it is. Jerry had this. He noticed that my mic would fire up, or the lights would fire up. I figured out what it is. I'm gonna leave myself mute until I talk. Until this refrigerator. I have a little mini fridge in here. When it kicked on, that's what's causing the background noise.
Okay. All right. Just so you're aware, I don't know if you saw that or not, but yeah.
I saw it.
Unmute yourself anytime you want to talk.
Yeah, I noticed when you muted me, and I'm like, it's about the same time that little mini fridge kicked on.
Yeah. Okay.
And makes a weird. It's making a weird noise. Makes a weird noise while it's on. So as soon as it kicks off, I'll mute myself.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks. Latro says, if we were meant to eat grass, why do we have canine teeth and a stomach pH of 1.5? Good question. So,
Yep.
Obviously, we were not meant to eat grass. All right. Eating meat is better than any other choice, Sherilyn says. Absolutely. I believe meat is your staple. So 70% or more, the definition of a hypercarnivore. Anything else you want to add to that? It's kind of like your prerogative, as long as it's not, in my opinion, overly processed man-made food. So
It is the foundation of my diet.
Mine too. So I am 95% carnivore. I have to say this every week because one of these days you'll see me at a restaurant, putting a piece of broccoli in my mouth. You're going to be like, that hypocrite. But no. I'm 95% carnivore. And if I choose to, on occasion, have a fruit or vegetable, that's my prerogative. So,
Yeah, what's up?
All right. Let's see here. Latro says, the endocrinologist I saw was indeed a clown show. Had PA do the interview, physician's assistant, do the interview, came in for a cameo, totally clueless, a cameo, explained type 2 diabetes like I was a noob of 3 months, fired immediately. Oh, well, sorry that you had a bad experience. I'm kind of doing really good on doctors right now. My PCP is new. I've only seen him once. He seemed cool. We'll see how that develops. My nephrologist is like my main man. He's awesome. So Dr. Nelson says a little bit of liver once in a while is okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then Cranky Carnivore Cutler says, the date on a can of sardines is usually the best by or best before date that shows peak quality and flavor, not food safety. Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. So it's not that these go bad necessarily by December. So my wife made she had like a box of Gouda mac and cheese that she made. And it was the same thing. It was like a couple months old. And I said, you're going to be just fine. And it was fine. So, alrighty. Let's see here. That's the end of my starred comments. Back to the regular chat. Here we are. Latro says, I'm going to continue the effort to eliminate exogenous insulin down to about 15 units of Tresiba, administered only if trend moves against me. A1C will be a bit elevated from the technique. All right. Very good. Hope that works out well for you. All right. Stopping metformin seemed to make no difference. And then you're pretty much true carnivore too, so I would explain why. Let's see here. Isabella says, since I don't pay for cable TV anymore, I don't mind paying for YouTube Premium. So I certainly don't mind for paying for YouTube Premium. I've had friends of mine like, oh, you need to see this YouTube video, and they get out their phone and they load it up, and I'm just like, it could be like a 2-minute, 3-minute commercial, and you can't skip them now. Like the last time I was watching, back when I didn't pay for YouTube Premium, there'd always be one ad, and it would be skippable after 3 seconds. Once in a blue moon, there might be like a 30-second ad that wasn't skippable. But now it's like there could be multiple ads, and even in between videos, I've seen like I'm watching a video in between, and it'll interrupt, and it might play a couple minutes of unskippable ads. It's just like the old network television now. And yeah, it's I hate ads. So like I pay for Netflix, only because the family wants it. I pay for HBO Max, and I pay for. That might be it. Paramount. I think I pay for Paramount. Then my wife's got Stars and Hulu and Disney Plus, and so it's actually pretty sad when you think about what I'm paying and what she's paying. We're paying the same amount for cable now anyway. So, but my rule is if we don't watch it, I don't pay for it. So there's some that we've had for a while and I had to cancel. Braunschweiger is a good liver alternative. Yes, indeed.
I make it. Good stuff. Actually, I make liverwurst, not Braunschweiger. There's a difference.
I'll get it once in a while down
it's
to the store.
interchangeable. Braunschweiger is smoked, and liverwurst is cooked.
Latro says occasionally eat meatballs with some Rouse sauce. That's okay. Most store-bought meatballs have filler like breadcrumbs or oatmeal. Best to make your own. Yes, it is best to make your own. So yeah, if you do eat a store-bought meatball, it's probably gonna have some breading in it. It's one of those like if it's a matter of time or convenience, or someone else made them, you didn't make them, but someone else invited you over and made them. It's kind of like, well, you're gonna have to take a hit, or you're not gonna eat. And oh well, it's just one meal. Another one like that is I love gyro meat. Gyros. I love gyros, but gyro meat's the same way. It's got a little bread in it, so it's beef, lamb, and breading. So, unfortunately, now I can make lamb, and I can use the gyro seasonings and the tzatziki sauce, which is just yogurt, and that's carnivore. And I can get something that's close, but there's just something about an actual gyro loaf. Oh, amazing.
I used to eat snot out of them when I was over in Athens, Greece.
Mm-hmm.
That was of all the places I worked, that was my favorite place when it came to the food. Well, the food, the culture, everything. I love Greece.
Oh, Hebrew National or Nathan's. This is back to hot dogs, I believe. Applegate, if you won the lottery.
Yeah, like I said, if you want the premium, you're going to pay for it.
Aaron, the carnivore guy. I love my PCP. Need a new cardiologist. My CAC score was 1400, but they want me to take a statin still. Asked what it's doing. It's making the plaque harder. Thus, my CAC score can go up. Yes, I agree there. Like, it was the 1400, obviously nobody wants to see that. Is it the end of the world? No, you're still on your feet and you're still breathing, but that is true. Statins take the soft plaque that might be in there and calcifies it. So that goes up. Now there's an argument, is that good or bad? I guess, the soft plaque is the dangerous stuff that can break loose and cause a stroke or heart attack, and plug a small artery. So, they say that it's actually safer to calcify it. I don't know. I guess it depends on, how much soft plaque you have, so if you just have a little bit of it, maybe it's not worth the risk. So I've yet to be sold on a statin yet. So I don't take, believe me, it's been suggested, your LDL is a little high. You need a statin now. And I'm like, no, I feel like $1 million, and all your drugs so far is what's put me in the position I am now with kidney disease. So my PCP, that was actually our conversation. He looked at my panel. We looked at all my labs, And he zeroed in on the LDL, and he's like, you want to take a statin? I'm like, no. He's like, Repatha? I'm like, no. And he's like, why not? I'm like, because I have kidney disease. And I was like, you can't take a statin with kidney disease. It's not good for kidneys. And he actually looked it up. He's like, well, let me look it up. So he looks up rosuvastatin, and sure enough, there's a warning on there. Watch closely. Someone with kidney disease might have to do a lower dose with someone with kidney disease. Do labs every 3 months. And they looked at another brand, said the same thing, and I'm like, see, I told you. I'm like, I'm kind of done with doctors because doctors gave me kidney disease. So. Let's see here. Latro says beach cliff sardines and water, hard pass. Rodney says the commercials are only a few seconds long before we can hit the skip button. Only lose about 10 seconds. All right. So I didn't like the woke ads either. What's that a reference to? Did I miss something? Let me scroll up. I don't think so. I wonder what the woke ad was. Let's see here. All right, Rick is back home. Maybe we'll be blessed with his presence shortly after he takes a shower, gets all squeaky clean. Maybe he'll grace us with his presence. All right.
I want to give a shout out to Rick. When he did his keto and carnivore collide, he did that iguana wrap. I made a version of his the wrap that he made, 2 ingredients, cheese and eggs. Turned out really good. Made a really good wrap. Decided to do that tonight and put too much stuff in it. End up being a burrito.
Mm-hmm. I was waiting for you to say you somehow found yourself an iguana out there in Missouri.
No, and if I did, I'd be going, where are they coming from? Because they can't survive this far north unless somebody's pet got loose.
I remember reading years ago there was actually a day in Florida where it froze, like it got down real cold down there where it usually doesn't. And the iguanas are cold-blooded, so they just kind of stop animating. And I heard that they were just falling out of trees, and I saw people uploading like TikToks and Reels where they were laying on the ground and they cover themselves in iguanas that were just in brumation because it was so cold. Those have been easy pickings on those days for Rick.
Yeah, Rick said that was further north from him. It didn't happen that far south where he was.
Yeah. Now, I don't think Miami experiences a freeze. All right. Manix Gaming. Hey, we're from the Philippines. We haven't seen you in a couple months. How you doing? Just ate lechon. The skin is so crispy. I'm sweating so hard. Ate too much fat. I got to Google that. Unless you want to tell me what that is. Lechon, what is it? A traditional dish of whole roasted pig, celebrated for its tender meat and crispy skin, served at festive occasions in the Philippines. Okay, all right. Very good. So you may have missed it. I shared a photo of it a couple weeks ago, but I attended a graduation party where they did a pig roast. So we went into the graduation party in the kitchen. They had a pig, and I had my picture taken with the pig roast. And I learned why they called it pulled pork, because I helped them, put it into a heating dish. You literally once you stuck your hands into this thing and you started pulling the meat out until it was just down to the bone, pulled all the flesh off of it. So that's why they call it pulled pork. It was an interesting experience, and it tasted absolutely delicious. No. We used to have a Greek restaurant with excellent gyro meat that was half lamb and half beef. Yeah, so I'm aware of the alternative pronunciation. So this boy here speak a USA, though. So I'll say gyro. So it's funny.
Yeah.
Some people will get on me about that. And I kid you not, for the first probably 13 to 15 years of my life, everyone in my social circle, family, friends in the neighborhood, and peers and teachers at school called them jalapeno peppers. And then I got to be, when I got into high school, then all of a sudden I was corrected. They were jalapeno peppers. So, but no, but probably, from birth to 8th grade, I'd never heard a soul say jalapeno. Everybody said jalapeno. I don't know why it changed. I understand the principles behind it. It is a Spanish word, you know, but I also understand, like, why jalapeno is acceptable too. So it's kind of like Jesus, Jesus, you know, Jehovah, Joshua, Yahashua, I mean, the pronunciation of things vary per language, but I tell that story now that we used to call them jalapenos when I was a kid, and I just get laughed at.
I used to mess with the Hispanics at work because I'd call them jalapenos. But
Jalapeno.
I did that on purpose
Yeah.
just to irritate them. Just to have fun with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good grief. I'm from San Antonio. Yes, I know how to say jalapeno. Uh, and when it comes to the gyro euro, I lived in Greece and worked in Greece, and I can't call them anything but euros.
Mm-hmm.
I got used to it.
Yeah, and I'm just the other way around. Like I immediately, gyros just the first thing that rolls
Yeah,
off
when
my
you
tongue.
say gyro, my first instinct, is to correct you, and I'm like, no, there's no need to correct you. You know how to say it. You're Americanizing it.
There's a restaurant around here, locally called. It used to be called Europe Gyro, and then they started to franchise themselves out, and now they say Euro, and I get it now because they sound, EUROGYRO, Euro is, I get it now. So yeah. Yep. Alrighty. Latro says there is a regimen to remove soft plaque. Search Maurice Dower. Another good video, another good channel to watch if you are really interested in, like, LDL reversing plaque and whatnot. It's Dr. Ford Brewer. So he's a YouTuber. He's a doctor, and I mean, he was head of his field at different hospitals and universities. He puts out excellent videos. Dr. Ford Brewer. Sherilyn says, sorry about the kidney disease. Yeah, it stinks, but I got to live with it, and I'm doing fine now. Well, I live with stage 4/5 kidney disease, not on dialysis or anything, but carnivore seems to have stabilized my decline. So has abandoning all those prescription drugs that were actually at the root cause of the failure. In meeting I attended today, a person who worked with cardio, this is Carnivore Cutler here, said the doc talked about how extremely difficult it is to place a stent in through statin hardened plaques. Yeah, I mean, calcification, it's like, hardening of the plaque, calcifying of the plaque, turning to stone. I could see where that would be hard to stent. That makes sense to me. TS111, my PA, physician's assistant a few years ago, thought he had to dumb it down for me and called the statin the medication when he was leaving voicemails regarding my 506 LDL. He knew you didn't want to hear the word statin. The medication. Let's see here. The woke ads are most of the ads on YouTube. Okay, like I said, I don't get to, I don't see any ads on YouTube, so I don't know, or never idea what they're advertising.
But
I
for
know
the
I've got some
longest,
control. Like I can ban certain categories. Like I think I've asked for like no alcohol and no gambling, to be shown on my channel. There, back long years ago when I set it up, and maybe there's more finite now, but uh,
it was so funny because earlier, when I first came to Carnivore and started getting involved in the community, watching all the videos and everything, uh, so often the commercials that would pop up would be commercials for diabetes drugs, weight loss drugs, Jardians, whatever that is. That was one of the big ones. And I noticed it was always with the carnivore YouTube videos. Their algorithm, they know what they're doing with it. It keys in on what you're watching, and then it will show you commercials that they think you might be interested in.
well, I think that makes sense because carnivore is usually in the health and nutrition sphere, and people watching carnivore, a good majority of them are trying to reverse or cure diabetes. So then to have diabetes drugs advertised during carnivore videos, that's their target audience. People trying to reverse diabetes. I think it kind of fits hand in glove. So I get it. So all right. Let's see here. Rodney says likes Oscar Mayer beef bologna. It's expensive because first and second ingredients are beef and water. Only one carb. I think is it Eckrich? I think it's Eckrich.
Well, that's one of them, yeah.
Down at Meyer, I think they have Eckrich, and it's okay. And I like it. I tell you what I like to do is I'll ask for it sliced thick. I'll have it like on slice it on a 3 or a 4 on the slicer. I like it really thick, and I like to fry my bologna too. So fried bologna and some cheese, mayonnaise, maybe even some banana pepper. So it can be absolutely delicious. Use the egg life wraps on the top and bottom like a bun. Toast those too. Excellent. So, all right. So yeah, Rick says, "Guess you like the wrap." Mm-hmm. Yep. Kelly liked the wrap. He gave us a good thumbs up there. All right. Yes, lechinous pork. Thank you. Whole roasted pig qualifies as nose to tail. If you eat the nose and you eat the tail and everything in between. Rick's watching from bed. He's about ready to fall asleep. Yep, that's okay. If you fall asleep, you have a good night. Glad you tuned in. Rick, by the way, I'm sure all of you know who Rick is. All 48 who are watching, 6 on X, 2 on Facebook, and 40 on YouTube right now. Rick live streams Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. 4 hours. And it's not a carnivore show. It's like the Rick Talk show. So there's all kinds of subjects are considered. Jesus is how they call Jesus. That's right. Yep, Jesus. Yeah, no. I study languages and ancient languages, and I find it fascinating. So yeah, so like a lot of your J's in Spanish are H's. You go into your Middle Eastern languages, they are I's or Y's, kind of pronounced the same way, and it's pretty interesting. And some people get all bent out of shape over pronunciation. Euro, gyro, jalapeno. But it's really not a problem. Take my name, for instance. When I was young, you could take someone from the Middle East whose name was Jacob, and they'd talk about him on the news over here, and they would call him Jacob because that was a proper English translation. These days, they might actually say Jacob now. They kind of keep the original pronunciation. That's kind of become like a big thing where it wasn't a big thing just a couple decades ago. But I find it interesting. I'm Bob, which is a short for Robert. In Germany, I'm Rupert. In France, I'm Robert. In Spain, I'm Roberto. And I could continue to give other examples too. So wherever I'm at, the pronunciation of my name in that language will vary. I'm not going to be like, it's Bob or nothing. I'd be willing to go by whatever it was in the language where I happened to be. So, all right. That's why when people get too upset with gyro or jalapeno or something like, oh, calm down. It's acceptable. So I know what you're getting at, though.
I can be that way with German too. I speak a little German, so I know how to enunciate it.
I can speak. I took a little bit of German. So my key phrases I remember are "Ich bin ein Ausländer und spreche nicht Deutsch."
Ja, ein bisschen, ein kleines bisschen.
And then the most important phrase I was told that you need to know over there is "Ein Bier bitte."
Yes, you said it correctly. But now, can you spell beer?
Oh, could I spell that? I don't know. I'd probably spell that either just like the English spelling or maybe B-I-E-R. So I don't know.
It's B-I-E-R.
B-I-E-R. Yeah, I was just thinking. I know with German, their pronunciation follows closely the spelling. Like spelling matters in German.
Yes, it does. If you listen closely, almost every letter is pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to know the relationship, like I and E, E and I. Like my last name is Klein, and Klein. So the I is pronounced, not the E. If it was reversed, then the E would be what is pronounced. And Klein means small or little in German. So apparently, at one time or another, one of my first ancestors was a little bitty fella. We've grown since then.
Yeah. So like how, so even, and then in English, that I and the E thing, I've carried that over. For instance, I've always thought it was either or and neither nor, not either or neither nor. So, but again, both pronunciations are correct. I work in the tile trade, and the cavity, in the wall cavity where you keep your shampoo and conditioner, I call it a niche. It's also called a niche.
I've heard it both ways, yeah.
If you look it up, it'll literally say both pronunciations are fine. One's USA, one's British, UK, so yeah.
Well, and I was just going to say, over in the UK, a lot of differences in the enunciations of the words, like vitamin, stuff like that. I had an Englishman correct me one time, and I said, "Well, that's all right. I don't speak English. I speak Texan."
Vitamin, aluminium,
yeah. They're goofy. I love them. Good people.
It's a bunch of bollocks.
Yeah, here you go. Now we're getting into slang.
Right, yeah.
I got chewed out one time in Germany. I was talking to this older woman at this hockey game, and I said some slang in German, and she jumped on me, and in a good way. I mean, we were being very friendly, and she jumped on me, and she says, "Nein, du sprechen no nicht Harbordeutsch." Harbordeutsch is slang. It's gutter slang, and I'd been hanging around with the locals too much, the local kids too much, and I was picking up their lingo, and she was like, "No, you speak Hochdeutsch. Du spreche Hochdeutsch," which is High German. It's proper German.
Rick says, I get a lot of tool ads on YouTube. So they'll also, if you're logged in, they save a cookie to your device. And if you do a lot of searches for tools or watch a lot of videos on tools, they'll start targeting ads towards you too. So they all try and track your interests. Be like, oh, these are the things that this guy likes. So we're going to show ads that he's more likely to not click off of, and ads he's more likely to click on. So they know what they're doing. Targeted ads. I don't mind any of that. Some people get all bent out of shape about privacy and don't track me and all this other stuff. But It kind of is what it is. Well, I mean, it's a reason why a lot of it's free, and if you don't want it to be free, then you got to pay. And so, well, there you go. I chose to pay, I guess, for YouTube Premium. Sherilyn says, my cousin said at certain times of the year they would eat mountain oysters. So I've never had a blue mountain oyster. That's actually something that does not sound on the surface to be appealing. So,
She's talking about calf fries. Rocky Mountain oysters are nuts.
oh, so
Testicle festival.
Yeah.
She's not talking about the testicles, huh?
No, that's what I was saying earlier. You know, I eat calf fries. I harvest my own calf fries.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't gonna be long. I'm gonna be cutting goats. You know, and that's what we just cutting them. But what we're doing is castrating. And but we call them calf fries down here because they come from the calf and they're fried up. But like when I was up in Colorado a couple of weeks ago, up there they call them Rocky Mountain oysters, but it's the same thing.
Oh, okay, just a different animal, right?
So yeah, usually it's a different animal, but they were still calling calf testicles Rocky Mountain oysters up there in Colorado. So,
Oh, okay.
My understanding was
age of the animal.
Yeah, my understanding was usually mountain oysters, you know, were like pig or sheep, you know, and cattle were just calf fries. But up there, they call cattle Rocky Mountain oysters too. So,
Oh, okay.
but they're good.
Mannix Gaming says, you know what's the first thing people ate to the lechin? It's the skin, the protein meat. No one touched it first. They know which is the good stuff. I'm not sure what you meant there. So
The fat and the skin they eat first because that's the good stuff to them before they go into the meat.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. Well, you said it's crispy, so it'd be like a tasty pork rind. Although the pig that we at the pig roast for the graduation party, it had like a crunchy skin, and it didn't seem all that appetizing though. We actually peeled it back and went and then pulled all the flesh out, so it was a different texture. It definitely wasn't like a pork rind for sure. It was more leathery. Latro says another weapon against calcification is vitamin K2, MK7, also useful when taking vitamin D3. Yeah, so I take 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 a day. I don't not recommend that any of you do. It's because I have kidney disease and I spill it. I spill most of it, so that's why I can take large amounts. But I also take 500 micrograms of vitamin K2. And I think 100 of it is MK4. 400 of it is MK7. So, yep, those are actually the only vitamins I'm taking, in a capsule form is the K2 and the D3 right now. Let's see here. DS111. I never say the abbreviation for Richard, which is the name of my physician's assistant. Dr. D blank blank blank.
Well, my father's name was Richard, and back in the 40s, your name was Richard. You were called Dick.
Yeah,
that was my father's name. Richard is also my middle name.
Yeah, we had a local weatherman here who passed away recently. He got into the he might have made it to 90, 100 years old or something, but his name was Dick Goddard. Yeah, no one ever thought anything of it. And he was a very nice guy. I wouldn't think anything of it if someone introduced themselves and said, that's my name. So, but it is something that you don't hear a lot more now that you did again, several decades ago when I was a kid. It seems like all the Richards I know now either go by Richard, Rich, or Rick these days. No.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
once that became a derogatory name, everybody quit using it.
Right.
It used to be a very common name, and it wasn't derogatory back then.
Carnivore says, I suspect my ads are attempts to brainwash me. That's exactly what all ads are.
Yes.
That's the whole point of the ad, is to get into your head and make you think you need what they're selling. So they'll do some skit, tell some silly story. In the background, there'll be some music playing, like all somber or encouraging, or or it might be sad at the beginning. It might be sad at the beginning, and then when they start talking about their product, all of a sudden it turns into this sunshiny, light, positive music. It's all an attempt at brainwashing. Advertising can crack me up sometimes. I think it's funny. So, but that is what it is. Yeah. So, and then there's a couple of you talking about here about ads being just popping up about things you say, as if it reads your mind. Sometimes I've had that experience too, where I've been talking about something with the wife, and then I open my phone and I get up Facebook and I'm scrolling, and then every 4 posts is an ad, and it has to be exactly what we were talking about. So I know
it's always listening.
Yep, always listening.
That's what's funny about everybody. The big conspiracy fear. They're tracking us thing is the flock cameras, and I'm like, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but every single one of us carries a device that they're always monitoring, they're always listening to. So you're worried about that camera checking out your license plate, brother? They're following you anytime they want.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're carrying a tracker in your pocket all day long.
Yep.
Yep, there it is. So yeah. The flock cameras are causing a lot of commotion over, all around. I guess it's all around the country. I know they're popping up all over here in Ohio, and a lot of people are mad. But like, my opinion on the flock cameras too is, everywhere I go, I'm on camera. At gas station, filling up gas, I'm on camera. Knocking on my neighbor's door, I'm on
doorbells.
Camera. Driving down the street, I'm on someone's Ring camera.
And they have access to all those too, because they're all done over Wi-Fi, over the internet.
Yeah, they want to worry about these flock cameras. MoDOT has had cameras 10, 15 years ago at every intersection of interstates and U.S. highways here in Missouri. So what's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I understand everybody's concerned with them, but the thing is, like we've already mentioned, we're already being tracked. We've already got cameras everywhere, then there's a lot of misinformation out there about them too. Most things get blown out of proportion and people start making stuff up and then passing on as fact. And we see that in our own community too. We see that in the anti-carnivore community. We see it in the pro-carnivore community. We start spouting stuff that somebody else has said, and turns out it's not really fact.
And I know most vehicles are today, especially if it's like way newer. But if you have a General Motors vehicle clear back when they OnStar started, even if you're even an older vehicle like mine, I don't have it activated, but it still tracks.
Still tracks.
Yep. So, if I don't have my phone with me, I drive my truck. It's tracking where I'm at. And they can find me.
Yeah. And you can find YouTube videos on how to disable that function in your vehicle.
All right. It's 10 o'clock. We got 45 viewers. If you could all hit that like button, that would be fantastic. And if you want to join us on screen, just like Jeff and Kelly here, I want to paste this link and to the chat. You'll see it over in Facebook also. I don't know if you'll see it over on X. But you click on that and you can come up here using your device, whether it's a mobile phone, tablet, or computer, and we can talk face to face. We're talking about organ meats today. You know, are they necessary? Depends on you. You know, for most people, no. You know, and but you know they're certainly beneficial. They make up for some different deficiencies. And they have other practical events as well. So practical benefits as well. Excuse my trying to talk too fast. I need to slow it down here. Stop twisting words. What are some of those benefits? We have a more complete micronutrient profile that doesn't rely on plants or synthetic multivitamins. You have a better amino acid balance, glycine and proline, along with methionine and some others. Organ meats support energy, recovery, hormones, immunity, and they're often cheaper than your premium muscle cuts. I don't know if you've been to the store and bought liver lately, but last time I got it, it was $1 something a pound. So, and then of course, this also, as Jeff brought out, aligns with ancestral eating patterns where the organs were prioritized and prized at the end of a hunt. So that's something you might want to give some thought to. If you do some labs once in a while, which I encourage everyone to do, and you find yourself deficient in something, oftentimes the organ meat can compensate for that. You can begin with like folate. We talked about folate is a big one. Liver is a great source of folate. And so that's usually the one that we recommend. You know, it's one of the easier ones to start on and to learn to like if you haven't tried it yet is some liver, beef liver, chicken liver, sheep's liver, and the like. So, and if you don't like it, you can chop it up into ground beef and it disappears in your hamburger. You won't even know it's there. A next recommendation would be bone broth. So who here is a regular consumer of bone broth? I'd like to hear from you in the chat. How do you make your bone broth, or do you just buy prepackaged bone broth? That'd be an interesting subject to discuss here. And then if you've tried anything else, we talked about, you know, beef tongue and beef heart and beef kidney, you know, chicken and turkey hearts. You know, these are different things that you know, Jeff has a lot of experience with. I'm going to try, thanks to a friend I talked about at the opening of the show. He's going to invite me over and prepare some things for me. And that's actually what kicked off the idea for this as our theme tonight. It's because it was fresh on my mind from that hanging out with them over the weekend. So let me know. Do you like your organs? Let's see here. Kurt slapped the thumbs up. Thank you very much for pressing that thumbs up. Really appreciate it. And Papa Carnivore is here. Says, hello, fellows. Just got home from work and ate dinner. What'd you have for dinner, Papa Carnivore? So, actually, heard you in a video the other day. I was scrolling through, I think, Facebook Reels, or it might have been here on YouTube Shorts. But the person who was talking about you and citing you as an example was actually Dr. Paul Mason. Are you aware of that clip? So I don't know if you talked face to face or over a live stream, or if you just related an experience through a chat, but the reel talked about you and the progress you had made, and it was a very good and inspiring clip. I was like, oh, he's talking about Papa Carnivore. I know Papa Carnivore. Very nice. All right. Well, we're out of comments right now, so we can talk about anything we want. We were talking about names and their various pronunciations, particularly Richard, a little bit ago. We've also been talking about flock cameras. And what are your thoughts on the flock cameras? That's interesting. That's a hot button topic here in Ohio. And I'm okay with them as long as they don't issue me a ticket. So
They're
that's what
used for, yeah, they're used for tracking. They're not used for, I mean, they're, used for going after you. You've got unpaid tickets, they'll be used against you.
yeah.
You got warrants, they'll be used against you.
Kelly, that fridge is running again, right? There's there's one community where I do work in. It's in Chagrin Falls, and like they look like the flock cameras everywhere. They got the little solar panel above them, and they're black, and they're pointing, usually pointing across the street, pointing in different directions or whatnot. Might have one on each side of the road, but they'll have signs that say, on that sign that says traffic laws are photo enforced. And my Waze app, which I use for navigation, will say, as I'm getting close to that neighborhood, it'll say, warning, mobile police cam spotted ahead. And so someone's reported it as a mobile police cam. So with that, plus the sign, I slow down because I'm like, is that the camera that's going to give me a ticket? Because there are a couple other places here where there are speed cams that have nailed me. And but then, when they started popping up here in Stowe, and I was warning my wife about them too. I'm like, oh, look, there's another one. Look, there's another one. I'm like, these things that give you tickets. And then I read a post from the mayor in the local Stowe group that said, no, they don't. They're not speeding cameras. They're just what everybody else says the flock cameras are. They're just for surveillance. And so I'm like, okay, that's interesting, because the ones in this other community, they're clearly marked traffic laws are photo enforced, and they on every pole where there's a flock camera, that sign's on that pole. So I'm not sure what to make of it.
Yeah, when I was up in Colorado, I'd get that pop up on my GPS, on my maps when I'd going someplace. I had to use it everywhere I went, and there was a couple of routes I went several times when I was up there, and it would warn me if there was a camera. And I'm going to tell you what, I looked, and they was hard to spot. They were hiding them things good.
Papa Carnivores saw the Paul Mason video. Rodney says, I'm doing Lion Diet currently, but was purchasing Pacific organic unsalted bone broth and added my own salt and a pinch of cayenne. Very nice. I've bought bone broth from the store and drank it. It's good, but I know a lot of people that make their own. For example, here, Cranky says, I save marrow, rib, and T-bones, cover with water and a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar, and instant pot and pressure cook for 3 hours. If possible, I add meat broth to replace some water. All right. Very good. Latra says, let us know what organ meats you liked after you sample them. Oh, yeah, no, I will. There'll be one of these Mondays, I'll be like, I had sheep's liver, and got together with them. So Latra says, my mother worked a lot of her career in Chagrin Falls dental office. Okay. Yeah. So that's in the kind of area that I'm at. Oh, in fact, I think I just mentioned the city I'm at too. I usually don't. I usually don't mention my specific city. I think I did just about 2 minutes ago. Let's see here. Flock cameras just installed at the Home Depot here. So that was another. They did that here too, on a spot where like ain't nobody gonna be speeding. I'm like, so when I saw a flock camera go there, I'm like, why did they put a camera there? Why did they put a speed camera there? Because again, at the time I still thought they were speed cameras. So then that makes sense that they're not, because no one's going to go zipping into there. I saw them at the one of these local high schools too. I think in Talmadge, they had them going in and out of the high school parking lot. Like no one's going to be blazing through the high school parking lot. And I was the same way. I'm like, that don't even make sense.
They put a flock camera. They had a flock camera in a town that's probably is smaller than my hometown, almost out in the middle of nowhere.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Cutler says the issue I have with flock cameras is that they keep a database of all vehicles with distinguishing characteristics, time, date, and location of every spotting. Yeah. So I mean, so like obviously that means there's a database that probably says, Bob's truck that I use for work, you know, well, I work I'm an independent contractor, so I work all over the place. So I'm probably hard to find a pattern to. Whereas someone that goes to the same place every day for work, that database is like, yes, at this time they're here, at this time they're here, and at this time they're here, because they're doing the same routine every day. So, and it's like, yeah, whose business is that? Well, if you're not committing any crimes, who cares? Kurt says no privacy in public. Yeah, exactly. Or on the internet, So, let's see here. Rodney, you asked what I had for dinner. I had a very marbled Angus New York strip loin cooked in an air fryer and poured the grease on the steak. Yum. Sounds absolutely delicious. Tonight for me was carnivore tacos, just like I made in my video. And then my son's fiance made it's a chicken dip. It's chicken and cheese. And so it's got chunks of chicken meat, chicken breast, chicken thigh, whatever, and it's got a cheese in it, and it's made into a sauce, and it's a buffalo chicken dip. So there's some buffalo sauce in it for spices. And then I ate that with pork rinds, dipped pork rinds into that dip, and ate the chicken dip. So I had that as well. So very good. It's a nice little carnivore thing that she makes that I can eat. Oh yeah, I forgot that. Manuel said his name. We were talking about names, meaning of names. Where you at? Because he just brought up Jeff's, but he brought up his too. Anyway, Manuel said that his name. This is Manix Gaming in the Philippines. Said Manuel means God with us. That's true. You may be more familiar with Emmanuel. Same thing. Manuel. Emmanuel. It's the exact same name. All right. And he says here that Jeff's name means God's peace in German. Where do our parents get these names? So, yeah.
Well, and I answer that. Yeah, I know what mine means, and my parents named me, or my dad named me after Geoffrey Chaucer. My dad was big into literature, so he named me after Chaucer.
Yeah, according to a quick internet search, the name Robert is from the ancient Germanic name Rodebert, which means bright fame. So, I've heard different things over time too. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because the way my name is spelled, it's considered English, and yet the definition of it comes from German.
Mm-hmm.
So probably at one time it may have been actually more German than it was English.
German and English are actually bedfellows.
Yeah, they are. They are.
They have the same roots. So, kind of like all your Spanish, French, Italian are all Romance languages. They all have their roots in Latin. Italian also, German and English have their roots in the same. So they've kind of branched off from the same root. So there's a lot of similarities between English and German. In fact, I took German in high school. One of the reasons why I chose German was because they think in the same order that we do in English. Like we have the same sentence structure: subject, verb, object, and then if there's any adjectives, the adjectives come before the object is describing. Whereas in the Romance languages, it's the opposite. The adjectives come after the object is describing. So in English, or German, we would say like the big blue house, but in any of those romance languages, you would say the house big blue.
Yeah.
And so I could never wrap my head around that. So I was like, I don't want to do that.
But
German
even at
is not
that,
right.
even at that, you can't always make a direct translation,
Right. Yes.
and you still got to understand the context of what you're saying too.
Right. Yeah. Translation is not necessarily a word for word game.
No,
Yeah.
it's not,
So
and that can get you in trouble sometimes.
there's cops that abuse the flock info, and there's federal lawsuits. That could be. I'm not aware of them, but I can I can see where that something like that, having all that information somewhere, could be abused. Like this is for this purpose only, and only certain authorized personnel are supposed to be able to access it, and then other people get their hands on it. I can see that as an issue. I do.
Yeah, there's been cops that gotten in trouble for like tracking ex-girlfriends and stuff like that, or going after an ex-girlfriend or their ex-wife's recent lover, tracking them. Yeah, they use it for their own purposes sometimes. Of course, they're not supposed to. And if they don't, they ought to get fired for it.
Right. And if they're the ex, leave them alone. Leave them alone.
People can't get over it.
Right. Rodney, question not on topic. What y'all think about drinking water with your meals? Lion diet is salt, meat, and water. Yeah, I drink water like I drink a lot. I drink a lot as I eat. I love to eat, take a sip, eat, take a sip, eat, take a sip. That's my habit. I don't see anything wrong with it. I have some people said that you'll lower your stomach pH or something like that. Non-issue.
Yeah, I don't think
For
it's ever
most
been
people.
an issue.
For most people, if you already have low stomach acid or something like that, then maybe you want to eat, save drinking for later. But I think again, for most people, I think they can eat and drink simultaneously, and it's not going to be a problem. So that's an easy thing to do in N=1 experiment on yourself too. That's easy. Eat a meal without something to drink. Did you feel any better, any different?
Yeah, I've had people, when I first came into the community that would, I remember somebody in particular that said, you don't want to drink water with your meals. You don't want to drink water for an hour or two after you eat. And I tried it. I couldn't do it. Because some things just kind of start getting hung up in the throat. I've got to have some moisture to wash it down with.
Well, the valve at the base of your stomach, it knows how to open up enough to let any liquid through and still not let any solids through. So when your stomach's not going to open up and let anything digested through, not until it's properly broken down before it gets into your intestine. Usually. So.
And I was also told you don't want to drink ice water. You want to drink, room temperature water, and that's another one I can't do. I tried it. I like my ice water.
I love my ice. I chew on ice. I chew on ice, drink ice water all the time.
I'm sorry, my water's got to be extremely cold. I can't do hot water.
Mm-hmm.
Or lukewarm water.
I don't like lukewarm just about anything.
No.
It's either hot or cold. Carnivore Cutler says, I drink water or some beverage with every meal with no problems. I get hiccups. I call them hiccups, and sometimes find it difficult to swallow if I don't. Yeah. Hiccups. I've heard them. Like I said, I always heard that as hiccups. Hiccups. So, Bob is the most relaxed carnivore of all. What's that mean? I'm the reasonable carnivore. That's what I try. So I try to be more than anything on this channel is the reasonable carnivore. So, not a carnivore purist, not a carnivore cop. Try and be very reasonable. We're drinking flavored carbonated water product with electrolytes, sugar-free, called Rambler. manufactured in Austin. So that's interesting. So speaking of which, I might have a new favorite, carbonated beverage. So for plain water, nothing beats Saratoga, and especially if it comes in a glass bottle. The plastic bottle is okay, pour it in a glass, but I actually think it tastes better if it came in a glass bottle. I can taste the difference. It's kind of like with the Topo Chico. I can drink Topo Chico out of a glass bottle, but the Topo Chico that comes in plastic bottles, I can't stand it. I bought them. They're still sitting in my garage. Just tastes like plastic. Saratoga doesn't suffer from the same problem as much, but I can tell the difference. Saratoga in a glass bottle, it's amazing for just plain bubbly water. And then for flavored water, I've so far liked Polar. I've tried Waterloo and Bubbly and LaCroix, and Polar for some reason I liked. Maybe I'd like the other ones again because it took some time to get used to it. So maybe by the time I got around to drinking Polar, I was so used to drinking carbonated water that I was okay with it. But I have a new favorite. I was doing a towel repair on Friday, and the person said, help yourself to anything in the fridge. And they had something called Spindrift. And I looked at it, and this was a lime one. And it was it did have a carb in it because it wasn't carbonated water sweetened with natural flavors. In other words, artificial flavors. But the ingredients said it was carbonated water with actual lime juice and lime juice concentrate. So that's where your carb comes from. So it was like all natural. So I took it with me when I left, cracked it open in the truck and drank it. And it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I bought a packet, the wholesale club on Saturday or Sunday when we went shopping, and it came with lemon, which is good, lime, which is better, and then the other one was blood orange tangerine, and that's pretty decent too. So I like all of them, but yeah, they're absolutely delicious. So that's kind of like my new recommendation now. If you're not absolutely zero carb, and you like flavored carbonated water, give Spindrift a try. It's excellent, and in my opinion, proper human diet friendly. So, like I said, it does have one carb in it because it does have a little bit of either lime, lemon, or tangerine juice concentrate in it.
Did you say you got that at a Sam's Club, wholesale club?
I got mine at BJ's Wholesale Club.
Oh, BJ's?
I have a BJ's membership and a Sam's membership. BJ's happened to have the Spindrift. But yeah, it was good. Now, I also went and got a can of Spindrift Cherry from Meyer and tried that. Did not like it. So, hard to swallow. So, it's the citrusy ones so far are big winners. And then there's a bunch of other flavors too I'll eventually get around to trying. But yeah, definitely delicious.
All right, I'm going to get off here. I am about ready to go to bed. So y'all have a great night. See y'all next week.
All right. Good night, Kelly. Thanks for hopping on. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week as we get ready for your surgery.
Yep.
All righty.
Have a good one.
You too. Take care. All right. Mannix Gaming says that we are more dehydrated today than before. We are only meant to hunt and socialize, procreate, but in our time, a lot of different kind of addictions, which dehydrates us. So you may be dehydrated. You definitely don't want to be dehydrated. That's hard on your system and your kidneys and whatnot. Let's see here. Bob, yes, reasonable carnivore. Rodney, you're a very, very reasonable carnivore. No wonder why people love going to the beach. You get the mineral, the sun, the socialization, and the food. That's an interesting viewpoint. I do love the beach, Manuel. The blue Saratoga bottle is so beautiful that I tend to think it's just water, and it's actually a bottle I just paid for. So no, I don't buy it. And you got to be careful. There's Saratoga carbonated water, and then there's Saratoga still water. Why buy still water? I mean, I have a water machine now in my house, so I do buy the 5-gallon Primo jugs, turn them upside down, and that lasts like several weeks. But no, I'm talking about the bubbly water. And the funny thing is I can get that glass bottle At one store it can be as high as $2.99. At the other store it'll be $1.99. If I can buy them in bulk, you can get them even cheaper than that. I went to Texas de Brazil. Texas de Brazil is where we have our carnivore meetups usually. That was the first time I ever had it. I had never heard of Saratoga before, so I ordered it. I was like, "Oh, it's the Saratoga water." And so they bring out this blue bottle and a glass, and they open it up and they pour it into the glass like champagne, And I drink it and I'm like, "Man, this stuff's really good," And I got my bill. It was $8.99 for the bottle, and I'm like, "Well, that's why it's good. It ought to be good for $8.99." But I'm like,
taking that bottle home.
I'm like, I gotta find this stuff at the store. So then, the Meijer's down the street here, I can walk there. So we go to Meijer, and I go down to the beverage aisle looking for carbonated water. And I'm like, oh, look, there's that Saratoga, $1.99. I'm like, oh gosh, the restaurant charged me $8.99 for that bottle.
Hate to know what they charge for a beer.
Oh, all right, yeah.
I'll just stick. I still have never tried any of them bubbly waters. I'll just stick with my regular old water. I'm used to it.
Now that I got the water machine, and I have a Pebble ice maker too. Now that I got the water machine and we got the 5-gallon jug, and we can just go up and press the lever and it pours out, I've been drinking a lot more just plain water lately, and I'm getting really used to it to the point where it is becoming my preference. Yeah. Which is good, because all my life, my preference has been like Diet Coke, and I'm trying to get away from all that. So slowly but surely, I'm cleaning up my act.
So I feel that this 20-ounce tumbler, I start off my day, I fill it up with ice, I fill it up with water. I drink a minimum of 4 to 5 of these a day, just straight water. If I'm going anywhere, I'll take it with me. It goes in my cup holder. If I'm going into town for anything, I'm just never without it. It's like my pacifier almost.
All right. So it's 10:30. We got some more comments here, but we're getting close to closing time. So just post the link one more time. This will be the last chance until next Monday to get on here live. Rodney says Walmart carries Spindrift. And Cutler says the Spindrift I bought had the 3rd flavor grapefruit that has 4 carbs because grape juice is added to the flavor. I bought it because of no natural added flavors. Oh, so I will say that the cherry was also, I think, 3 or 4 carbs. The cherry was a little more. So, but even then, it's extremely minimal, And how many of these are you going to drink? Like most of us, maybe 1 a day, maybe 2. So, but like the lemon and the lime are just 1 carb. So, but like I said, I don't worry about that. Carbs by themselves aren't inherently evil on their own. So, let's see here.
Let me get a little off topic here. I meant to bring this up earlier.
Sure.
And I neglected to do it, and I just remembered it. So I get updates on the cattle industry a couple of times a month. And the latest one I got from Texas Agricultural Daily, Tyson to close beef plants in Illinois and Utah. So Tyson Foods is restructuring its beef processing network as tight cattle supplies continue to challenge the packing industry. The company announced August 13th it will close its beef processing facility in Jocelyn, Illinois, and its case-ready facility in Eagle Mountain, Utah. Tyson also plans to pursue the sale of its beef facility in Pasco, Washington. So they will shift capacity from the closing facilities to other locations. The company plans to center its beef business around plants in Dakota City, Nebraska, Holcomb, Kansas, and Amarillo. The restructuring also includes plans to restore a second shift at the Amarillo beef plant as cattle become available. Tyson reduced the Amarillo facility to one shift in January when it closed its Lexington, Nebraska beef plant. Collectively, these changes will allow the company to maintain a similar level of cattle harvesting across a more efficient and modern network, Tyson said in the statement. Tyson's changes come as the beef industry continues to contend with historically tight cattle supplies. The USDA estimated 94.2 million cattle and calves were in the United States as of July 1st, up slightly from last year, but the beef cow herd fell 1% to 28.5 million head. The 2026 calf crop is estimated at 32.5 million head, down 2% from 2025. The supplies have pressured beef packer margins. Tyson recently projected an adjusted operating loss of $500 million to $650 million for its beef segment in fiscal year 2026. Some relief could come from the return of cattle imports from Mexico, but they're also saying that's going to take a while to see any effect. So, anyways, not good news.
That could translate into the continuing high level or higher rising cost of beef prices.
Yeah, it ain't going to help. Ain't going to help at all. The only thing that's going to help is, they're letting Mexican cattle back in. And they were shut off for a while. And that drove up. That's part of the reason beef prices drove up, because we have a shortage of cattle. I know, 32 million sounds like a bunch, but it's really not that much in the whole grand scheme of things. And so we've had Mexican cattle for a long time coming in, and that's where most of our cheaper cuts go. That's what's going to go into your hot dogs, your bologna, your dog food, stuff like that. But one of the issues we have right now is that with this new world screwworm that's going around, we're watching that very closely in Texas. And we've just got new medicine been approved for use on our goats. And of course, we have to, any livestock you got to watch out for, because it's not just cattle, but it's your sheep and goats as well. And so they have to do some heavy duty inspecting on any cattle coming across the border now for that screwworm. But it'll take a while before we see any benefit from that, because they got to bring the cattle over here and they got to raise them up. They got to feed them out. It's just going to take a while before we see anything. So yeah, don't expect prices to get any better anytime soon. And I know it's, from my standpoint, it's killing me because, I don't buy beef. I raise my own beef, and I don't have any cattle right now. I can't afford to buy them. My gosh, when calves are running anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 a head, I can't afford them. It's not worth it to me.
I heard an interesting fact about the cow, and I did not know this, but apparently cows do not exist in the wild at all. And the cow, our domesticated cow, was bred from a wild animal called the auroch, Aurochs. And so every modern cow descends from the wild species called aurochs. And the aurochs were large, powerful, wild ox-like creature that ranged across Europe, North America, and much of Asia. They were used to domesticate cows about 10,000 years ago, different subspecies. But the wild auroch that is the progenitor of the cow, the last one known to be alive was in 1627 when it was finally hunted out of existence. So true wild cows no longer exist. Cows don't exist in the wild. Cows only exist on farms. Is that interesting? I found it.
Yeah, it is. Now right after Now, we had wild cows here in Texas. That's what started the whole cattle drive deal. But they were domestic cattle that had been turned loose. And so they turned wild. Brush cattle is what we call them. And that's what started the cattle drives. So when the Spaniards left, they left their livestock behind. You know, we're talking way back in the early days. And that livestock turned wild. You know, as each generation went by, they got wilder and wilder. And when men were coming home from the Civil War in Texas, down in South Texas, they had all these wild cattle running loose, and beef was at a premium, and so they knew the markets up north needed beef, and they'd pay a premium price for it. So that's when they started rounding up all these wild cattle and running them up north to Kansas feedlots up there, you know, and to wherever the railroads were at where they could ship them off. So, I mean, they were wild in that sense, but they were actually still just domestic cattle that had been turned loose, which is what we have with our hog problem right now. You know, all these wild boars we got running around that are just, I mean, they're killing us down here in Texas, you know, and a lot of other places. They tear up farmland, something fierce. They're all derived from domestic pigs that were turned loose. And because it used to be the farmer back in the day, they didn't pen up their livestock like pigs and whatnot. They would earmark them, turn them loose, and let them forage because it kept the farmer from having to feed them. And then they developed dogs such as a blue lacy to go out and round up the pigs, bring them back, you know, whenever they wanted to slaughter one. And but the thing is, generation after generation of pigs, they get wilder and wilder to now we've got this wild hog problem here in Texas and in other states. You know, all because they turned them loose.
Very interesting. All we have here in Ohio is deer, and you can't hunt them in most places.
Yeah,
most cities aren't going to let you do that. You have to go certain places, and you can only do it during deer hunting season. So,
well, and that's the way it is down here too. I mean, we've got a season. It's the only time we can hunt them. You know, if I got a deer on my place, not only do I have to make sure they're in season, I also have to have a license, even on my own property. The only place I know of that you don't have to is in Alaska. If you are sustenance hunting and you have to be able to prove you're sustenance hunting, you don't need a license, and I don't believe there's a season.
Interesting, yeah. All right.
But they may be the only ones that do that.
All right, 10:43. Let's go blitz through these last remaining comments here. DS111. I have to go to Costco Business Center. Never been to one. To find the mineral water I really like lately, Mineragua. All right, I haven't had that. Charger Mopar it's slept time one for him.
Shows you how tired he was.
Yeah. He's falling asleep as he's typing it.
He's sleeping away.
Yeah. And he also said that's what he bought was the Saratoga still water. What is this? I thought, no. Yeah, that's bottled water. I always heard a story. I don't know if it's true or not, but the first bottled water was called Evian. And I heard that was naive spelled backwards because you had to be pretty stupid to buy bottled water because everybody got water out of their tap much cheaper.
And now there's more bottled water at the store than there's soda waters.
Yeah, so like the water out of my tap, sure, it's safe to drink, but I can taste the difference. My daughter really, when she was living here, she was really big on it. She's like, she wanted a reverse osmosis system or a Brie filter, Brie or pure filter.
Yeah.
Brita. Was it Brita or a pure filter? We ended up getting a pure filter. And she's like, you can taste the difference. So we'd filter water and then pour a glass, get a glass right out of the faucet. And I couldn't drink tap water after that. And now that I got this water dispenser and I buy the Primo water, I'm totally uninterested in what comes out of my tap.
Yeah,
I make my
I've
tea
been on
with
a
it.
well for years,
Mhm.
but even then I've got a system on mine to purify it.
Yeah. Rodney says, got to watch the PFAS in the sparkling waters too. Topo Chico is by far the highest, and there's a lot of info on that. Those are chemicals that get into the water. I think it's a particular problem with plastic bottles. Topo Chico has not been available lately here in Los Angeles. Supposedly there's a shortage in Mexico or something. So I'm on the Nicaragua now. LaCroix has one called Pure, which is no flavor, just sparkling water. I'd be willing to try it. I've had LaCroix that are good. It's just I fell in love with Polar, but right now I'm cheating on Polar with Spindrift. So. Manic Manuel, if you are eating enough protein and fats and lifting weights a little bit, that 4 grams of carbs is going to burn easy. Yes, exactly. Carbs is evil when you eat it and you get knocked out of sleep. Well, carbs is evil when you eat too much of it and from unhealthy sources like processed food. So trace carbs in something all natural or fruit or vegetable because it's not going to be the end of the world unless you specifically have a sensitivity or an illness or something that tells you to stay off of it, or you're trying to lose weight, or you're diabetic. I mean, there's reasons why someone would not want to eat carbs. But when I say carbs aren't inherently evil, and they're probably okay for most people, I'm talking about generally speaking, so barring individual issues that might make you unique. So. Initial tests of Topo Chico found PFSA level at 9.76 parts per trillion, but later testing showed levels dropped to 3.9 after the company upgraded filtration. Good. That's good news. Isabella's heading over to Grandma's Live. Yes, you can do that when we get off the air. Grandma's Crochet Corner. Live streams every night at 9 for over a year straight. I might even stop over there and pop in and say hi. Rodney Payne, the slaughterhouse here raises their own butchers and sells it at very good prices. I imagine because there's no middlemen for one. My local butcher is going to be a little more than your Costco and your Sam's Club and your BJ's. It's a little bit on par with your regular grocery stores, but you're knowing you're getting farm fresh, grass fed instead of something that may have been shipped across the country, so that's kind of like the difference. So the U.S. cattle herd stands at the lowest total inventory since 1951 at a 75-year low.
Yep.
Cows are not wild animals. We learned so much on the Carnivore Talk program. Yeah. So there was a time when there was no such thing as a cow. But then we domesticated the auroch, bred it, some bred it for meat, some bred it for dairy, domesticated it. That eventually became the cow. Much smaller animal too. And then the auroch was hunted out of existence. So, yep, it's interesting. Polar natural seltzer water is currently at the highest PFAS level water. All right. There we go. That brings us to the end of our comments. All right. Very good. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. So thanks for joining us tonight and talking about liver, heart, kidneys, brains, and other organs. So it was a fun discussion. And of course, the takeaway is, is eating organ meats necessary? We're not necessarily saying that. A lot of people eat carnivore diet of the rainbow of meats, for decades, and they don't touch organ meats, and they're perfectly fine. There are some exceptions, though. Some people do run into deficiencies. Those deficiencies can be made up with the organs. So that subset of people would be actually beneficial for them to give it some thought to. And you either learn to like them, or you learn to mix it in with your burger, you learn to freeze it and swallow it like a pill, or you can take some supplements in a capsule form. But it's definitely good. It's the way the ancestors did it. And I think it's definitely worth looking into, not all the time, but once in a while. Again, I think some moderate occasional organ meats is just a good thing to do all around, enhance your diet. All right. Anything else you want to say, Jeff?
No, I'm good. I think we had a good. Ow, stupid cat! Got a kitten just clawed my foot trying to play with it. No, I think we covered the subject pretty good. It was a good subject, and I enjoyed it.
All right. So good night, everybody. Thanks to everyone who joined us on screen. That was Jeff, Kurt, and Kelly tonight, and all of you who joined us in the chat and made your wonderful comments and gave us a lot to talk about over the last 2.5, almost 3 hours. We appreciate every one of you, and we look forward to seeing you again next Monday. Have a blessed week. We love you all. Good night.
Good night, y'all.